Good afternoon and welcome, everybody. This would be the Jeff Cameron Show right here on 97.9 ESPN Radio. Thanks for tuning to it. I'm Jeff. That's Tom. We're online, ESPNTallahassee.com. That's where you go to listen live via the streaming free. Always, if you miss portions of the program, make sure you get caught up at your leisure. We'll post all 3 hours of the program upon the conclusion to iTunes. We'll also throw it up in our audio vault. If you're on iTunes, rate, review, subscribe, all that good stuff. Email the show if you like, jcs at 979espnradio.com. On Twitter, it's at jcameronshow. WTSM app, good for your mobile devices. Hello, YouTubers and Periscopers. Hope this finds you doing well. All right. Where's your head at? What's the psyche? How you feeling? More NFL-oriented right now than college football? If you're a Knowles fan, you might answer yes to that. If you're a fan of other college football teams, you would say resoundingly no. I know where I live here in the South, and we are college football junkies. I got it. Right now, if you're a Buccaneer, you're thinking, Thursday may tell me, Jeff. Thursday will have me on the precipice of leaping off if the Bucs fall to 0-2 and Jameis looks terrible. And then the Knowles go up on Saturday, and they put the final nail in the coffin as they get resoundingly throttled by the Cavaliers. And now, grand opening. Grand closing, just like that. So what would you do? I think you have to mentally prepare yourself for the possibility.
I think most Buccaneers are mentally prepared for the possibility.
I think so.
Because they've been well.
Yeah.
It's like Tallahassee residents and hurricane season.
Right.
We are more prepared now, given that there's been 3 straight years of this nonsense. Mm-hmm. But you ask us in 2011, we have no idea what the hell to be prepared for.
Bucs Panthers tomorrow night, NFL Network. More on that later in the show. What do we have this weekend for college football besides our game? Well, it's not a great slate. I will say Friday night at 6 o'clock, North Carolina at Wake Forest is suddenly intriguing.
Very interesting.
It is. It's very interesting. You know, we thought in the offseason, Tom, that the marquee matchup on that Friday night was most certainly going to be residing on the ACC network, where Kansas is on the road to take on Boston College. But now BC is really set to probably lay the lumber in a lopsided affair for old Adazio.
All right, Adazio.
Going to start the year 3-0. I jotted this note down because I had to double check it to see if that was true. Boston College last week was up. Double check my math here if I have this right. They were up by 33, 35, 34. And Richmond kicked a field goal with 10 seconds left. Down 40. Oh, down 30, 36?
Down a bunch.
Down 36? I got double check the number. All I remember is, and I got to give credit to Stanford Steve in the bad beat section. But if you were watching that game against Richmond, you went, no, what are you doing? What are you doing? Why are you sending the field goal unit out? Why would you do that, sir? This field goal means nothing.
So the score was 45-10.
Okay, so they were down 35. That's correct. And Boston College was a 33-point favorite.
Oh. And it was a 45-yard field goal.
And he drilled it.
That is no gimme for Richmond.
With 10 seconds to play. So think about this. You're covering the
12 seconds.
12 seconds. You're covering the number at 35 comfortably, and Richmond's coach.
Well, but here's where you should be pissed. BC didn't score the entirety of the fourth quarter.
Because they pulled everybody. Here's the thing.
A good coach knows. Keep the boosters happy.
Richmond's coach knew.
Right.
Richmond's coach knew.
But our pastry friends should know.
I'll give you another one.
Line pockets with pastries.
I'll give you another one. I didn't know this till I went back and looked at it. I only knew I covered. I didn't know how lucky I was. And Director Matthew, you should have piped up. Penn State, who I knew was losing at halftime, despite giving 29 points or whatever, had to throw a bomb with like 2 minutes left or 30 seconds left, something ridiculous. They're throwing bombs up by 20-something points. Franklin's out here. I know the spread. Mm-hmm. Downtown, baby. We're going downtown.
You know,
that's crazy.
It's only Richmond, but Richmond has been good for an upset of a low-level ACC team or a low-level.
Back in the day, like Virginia Tech or Virginia team. Or something like that.
Virginia Tech had its annual September. I mean, they did last year, like the good old days.
Yeah.
BC amassed 518 yards of offense against Richmond in only 22 minutes and 27 seconds of possession.
I almost want to replay our Adazio interview where he told me, and he was emphatic. He about beat his hand on the desk.
Going to be explosive.
Best offense we've ever had. It's not close since I've been there. We're going to line up scoreboards. Jesus, Steve, really? I mean, he's not like that. He really believed it. Well, through 2 games, they put a hurting on Virginia Tech's ass, and then you saw what they did here.
Going to be explosive. And this summer I was in Cabo and ate some locals food, so I know explosiveness.
And wine is what gets you through. So I should note, Tom, that I think it's official. I think we all realize West Virginia is a dumpster fire, right? You now know that. You got that now, right? I mean, that's...
If Mizzou is tuning you up.
Oh, in a big way. So NC State's about to put a huge number on them this weekend.
One would think.
My point would be there are a lot of teams on the schedule that are scoring points. Like I noted that we play Wake Forest. We do play Boston College.
Yes.
We play NC State. Virginia's off to a healthy start.
We also play Clemson.
Well, Tom, I don't count.
I don't know if you knew that, but this is the year we draw Clemson.
Yeah, I don't count that exhibition affair. I'm not even looking at that game. But damn it, man. There's some teams with some offenses out here doing some things.
Clemson should celebrate the 6-year anniversary of our beatdown of them. Like, they should just troll us and say, congratulations to this 6th anniversary of Jameis Winston and Jimbo coming into town.
You couldn't have known it at the time, but it was going to be the last of your great feats.
Call it Throwback Saturday.
Oh, my goodness. Well, we're the butt of a lot of jokes right now, and I guess you could look at Saturday's game as an opportunity. That's what you tend to say when you've been getting throttled, and everywhere one looks, there seems to be little hope to grasp onto. You say, well, what an opportunity this Saturday is. You never know. This is a chance to turn it all around. Any given Saturday, Tom, a chance to turn it all around. But I give you some numbers, and they're scary numbers. If we are to turn it all around, Willie Taggart's going to have to turn around a trend of his coaching career on the road. It's not pretty as an underdog. As a Power 5 head football coach, Willie Taggart is 0-6 straight up as a road underdog. He's 1-5 versus the spread in those games. 5 of the 6 losses on the road have come by 29, 19, 35, 17, and 42 points. In short, they haven't been close. They've taken ass beatings. The only difference, the only game that was close as an underdog where they covered as a road dog was last year's Miami game, which we know didn't feel very good because not only did we cover it, but we blew it in that we should have won it up 27-7.
I still want to know if we could have challenged that play, but okay.
I thought we did, or
and
we
they said
didn't.
they already saw it.
They said they already saw it.
I don't buy that. I just don't.
You're not buying it?
No.
I don't think that's true. Perhaps.
Perhaps they said we've had plenty of time to review the play, sir. There's no need. Allow me to save you a timeout. Definitively speaking,
did you want to? Yeah. Did you want to say like, sir? I believe you think that's true, but I'm here to tell you I want further proof from the others.
You know, Mike Pereira had given me many answers to questions I had in the past, but this one he refused.
Yeah.
Perhaps he didn't know if we could challenge it in the college game. I don't know.
Yeah, that seemed crazy enough. Very, very frustrating. Also frustrating for me today to kind of read the quotes surrounding Florida State's players going into this football game this weekend. I just don't know why we talk. I don't know why we talk. We do dumb things.
What, do we put something on the bulletin board?
Well, I don't know that you would call this bulletin board material, but, you know, you got players out here talking about how good they feel. In fact, let me find the exact quote. I think Deshaun put this up. Let me see where it was that I saw this.
Deshaun Reed from The Athletic?
Yeah, Deshaun Reed. He put up, here it is. This is the quote, guys. Wait on me. I know it's great radio.
This must be a doozy.
No, it pissed me off, and he has a lot of quotes here. Here it is.
What isn't pissing us off
Well,
these days?
Leonard Warner said this on Bryce Perkins. Quote, obviously he's a pretty good runner, but I don't think we're going to have too much trouble with him. I think we got a pretty good plan in controlling him. Leonard, look around, man.
Is that so?
Understand what's happened in the games you've played in, that you've been a part of. We don't stop anybody doing anything. Sorrier players than Bryce Perkins have lit our ass up to the tune of 6, 7, 8 yards per carry. Even if you think we've got the greatest plan ever devised to stop a singular player, keep it to yourself. Nobody wants to hear that nonsense. You don't stop Louisiana Monroe. You don't stop anybody. Like even a little bit. They've given up over 1,000 yards in 2 games, and we're talking. Come on. I get the mentality of a football player. I played football. I understand that you can't take the field thinking you're going to take an ass beating. Now, it can be beaten out of you real quick, that bravado, that sense of belief. But you can never take the field thinking, I'm about to get my head kicked in. It's not in you because it's such a physical sport. It's like guys who've lost a lot of fights. They still get in the next fight. They think they can, until they get their ass kicked again. And guess what? The next time somebody bows up, they think they're going to win again. And that's just the way it is. Dudes are stupid.
He got lucky.
Yeah,
he got lucky.
Caught me. Anybody can get caught with a shot. So it's one of those things.
That's 7 in a row, young man.
So that's just how it works. And I get that part of it, but you can learn how to keep your mouth shut when you haven't earned the right to be braggadocious, when you haven't shown that you're capable of backing up such talk. See, we're going to be dominant, want to dominate. We're going to shut people down this year. I mean, we had players all over the lot giving us that quote before the first game.
That was the thing that scared the bleep out of me because, we scored 50 points in the scrimmage last year. I mean, we're just going to have so much success on offense. We're going to score so many points. That was what was coming out of fall camp. It's the reason for clicky pens. But the offense is having some success this year, which is nice.
Yeah. Elsewhere in the NFL should be an intriguing week. That Antonio Brown story just continues to get weirder by the second. I don't know what's true and what's not true. I know what he's been accused of, and certainly will document it. But let me just say this real quick. We began to wonder if Antonio Brown wasn't legitimately suffering from some sort of mental breakdown when he was in Oakland or Los Angeles. I mean, we thought in terms of the Raiders, the kind of behavior he was exhibiting, potentially throwing away $30+ million over a helmet issue and then getting into an actual fight in which you threaten the GM and all that. That's not the kind of look at me prima donna stuff you see from receivers. It was going above and beyond the norm of, say, a T.O. or something like that, right? And I saw...
And T.O. was unstable.
He was
still this one above and beyond.
Right. This felt more unstable than any of those things, right? I began to wonder if there wasn't something truly disturbing going on in the mind of Antonio Brown, beyond just being a narcissist, beyond being a prima donna, look at me first kind of guy, right? Not team guy. Again, we played the Ryan Clark, he's not a good human being quote.
Yeah.
He's just not a good human is what I think the quote
That's
was.
what
right?
it was.
It's a great line, right?
Wow.
So you had former teammates and others sounding off on him saying he's not a good guy, not a good human being. This is who he is. He's selfish. But even all of that said, when he got to the Raiders, then things got weirder by the moment, just weirder and weirder. You start out with the frostbite on your feet like a dumbass and all this other stuff, and then it got stranger and stranger. Well, I said at one point, rather flippantly, admittedly, I wonder, he seems like a guy going through a nervous breakdown. Seems like a guy who's like legitimately having a real hard time coping with his reality. He's lost in this sort of drama-filled... It's very modern, by the way. It's very social media sort of esque in the way that we live in a world where the Kardashians are rich for no reason other than they're good looking and they produce, Instagram. But I know the one does makeup, whatever. But so here you go.
Wow. I didn't know that one did makeup.
Oh, she's a billionaire, legitimate billionaire. I don't know her name, but she's a billionaire.
Probably begins with a K sound.
Yeah,
Chloe, Kim.
That might be her. Yeah, it's not Kim. It's Chloe.
Chloe.
Yeah, I think she's the one. I don't know if that's true, but she's a billionaire from makeup. Anyhow, that said, they're largely famous just for being a Kardashian and basically having sex on camera. So here's what I'd tell you. I thought, okay, so this is that make-believe, superficial thing where they're the center of their own little made-up world that revolves around social media and stupid shows like reality television. That's what it felt like Antonio Brown was doing. And so I thought, that's kind of weird. Maybe he's just caught up in his own nonsense and somebody will have to shake him, like his agent. Say, man, you're about to, like, in the real world, walk away from $30 million. You need to stop this, right? At some point, somebody's going to get a hold of him. But when you hear these accusations now, he's being accused of something more than just being a bad teammate. Now he's being accused of being a rapist, multi-time rapist. And there's a lawsuit filed in the U.S. District Court for the Southern District of Florida. You guys can read the details of all that, and we'll see what comes out of it. Again, I don't know what's true, what's not true. It's a civil case. But it does seem to be in line with some of the mental instability.
Yeah, the mental instability of the last, year plus? I mean, but he's always been mentally unstable. I don't know that this is anything new for him. And yes, I know you're having a good cough over there. And it looks like that water may help just a little bit. But remember, he taped a post-game locker room interaction with Mike Tomlin talking to his team in the private area that is always sacred in the sport of football. And he didn't learn anything from that.
I about died.
I know, you look like you're ready to die.
I came out of nowhere.
Usually when you cough, all I got to do is say a sentence or two.
Yeah, and I just point to you.
But when you're reaching a serious point, I don't know necessarily to just start spouting on Tampa Bay Lightning details. I was trying to say the word
instability, and then all of a sudden this scratch in my throat hit me. Sorry. Anyhow, but that
this is the guy who taped himself in the locker room in a privileged conversation. Like, the only other person I've ever heard of that does that is Nooney Murray from last year. And that was because Antonio Brown did it, I'm sure, no doubt. So I don't know. I think there's precedent here of behavior, both on Twitter and in the real world, that says that the dude was unstable from the get-go, but he might have CTE on top of it. I don't know.
Well, so that's interesting. But one thing I would say, again, I don't know, again, what's true, and we've learned our lesson, everybody has, about let's wait and see on all this stuff. But if you just monitor the guy's behavior and how bizarre it was with the Raiders, you wondered, was there something else going on? And now you know that at the very least, he's being accused of something as sinister as this, as abhorrent as this. And, whether he did or didn't do it, I would think that would weigh on you. I would think that could lead one. If you knew that was out there and that was coming down the pike, that would weigh on you a little bit.
Yeah, but would you put a video out there that says I'm free? I mean, would you go to the lengths that when you get cut by the Raiders, you say I'm free? Because you wouldn't feel free if you knew that was looming over your head. Yeah, you wouldn't treat the Oakland Raiders organization as the thing that was holding you back from being you. That's all I'm saying.
Yeah, well, I don't know, but that story, and I'm just surprised. I will say this.
The next coughing fit, I'm going to hit the Magic Johnson button so we can
Please
just
do,
laugh.
so we can all laugh. Well, you can hit it here in a second just so we can all laugh anyhow. But that said, I do wonder, you did wonder whether the New England Patriots knew that was out there. One would think that they did.
Yeah. I don't know. It's dangerous to speculate that they knew that there was an incoming issue about sexual assault. I don't know. The implications of that might be more far-reaching than just like a slap on the wrist from a public perception standpoint. I laughed at myself because the idea of the Magic Johnson button, the name of that it's kind of a...
What did you name it?
Well, no, it's the Magic Johnson button.
So, just for no other reason than we feel like laughing, here's that.
Tell me again, Magic Johnson, why are we here?
The Lakers are supposed to win this thing.
Ah, yes, I remember. Do you see that map, Magic Johnson?
No.
Let us talk together now, as men. Well, Magic Johnson. Talk.
The Lakers embarrass themselves, the organization, and the Laker fans.
Ah, yes. Now embrace me as my son.
I could do that voice right now, just as I did back then.
Then you'll be coughing up to the top of the floor.
Johnson.
No.
There it is, and I'm about to cough. Let's get it together, Cameron. It's Jeff Cameron Show, 97.9 ESPN Radio.
It's right here, guys. We got this.
I thought I could handle it.
We got this.
Moving doesn't have to be a hassle. Call us first at 2 Men and a Truck. No matter the move, home or business, we'll make it a smooth one.
I forgot something.
We got this.
97.9 ESPN Radio, Tallahassee Sports Monster.
The Jeff Cameron Show podcast, available on demand at ESPNTallahassee.com and on iTunes today. The Jeff Cameron Show podcast is brought to you by Garnet and Gold of Tallahassee. When you buy FSU apparel, support local business. GarnetandGold.com.
It's football season in Florida's Panhandle, and the best place to shop for FSU apparel and merchandise is Garnet and Gold. Owned and operated by Seminoles for Seminoles for nearly 40 years. Garnet and Gold has a huge selection of FSU merchandise to serve you, the true Nole. Shop online 24/7 at garnetandgold.com. And on game days, visit us on West Pensacola Street, just 2 blocks from the stadium. And remember, we're always open at garnetandgold.com. Go Noles!
Need help moving? 2 Men and a Truck Tallahassee provides professional home and business move services, both locally and long distance. For your next move, visit 2men.com or call them at 850-224-2232. 2 Men and a Truck, the movers who care.
Come visit the new and exciting Hangar 38. This amazing place is for everyone listening right now. Practice your bowling skills, compete, and have fun. Whether you're a newbie, an all-star, or a beer frame champion, no matter how you roll, you'll find the best place to bowl is at Hangar 38. Hangar 38 is home to over 75 arcade games, so they're sure to have something for everyone. Zeppelin's at Hangar 38 is a premier, full-service restaurant and sports bar, and it's also your place for birthday parties and company outings. Tallahassee, what are you waiting for? Come on out to Zeppelin's Hangar 38, 6668 Thomasville Road behind Walgreens.
He's to the 20, the 10, the 5, and touchdown! Just as time expires. What a big score!
You too can score big with savings offered by the City of Tallahassee. With a free home energy audit from the city, you are sure to score some major points by identifying household energy needs. We'll come to your home at your convenience, examine your structure, and provide recommendations for energy and water-saving improvements. You can also take advantage of the city's Energy Star appliance rebates. This can help you receive up to $300 on appliances such as refrigerators, washing machines, and more. And don't forget to ask about budget billing. This free program gives you more predictable bills by averaging the amount you pay each month to help avoid spikes caused by seasonal changes. With so many savings, you're sure to be a winner. Visit talgov.com or call 850-891-4968. That's talgov.com or 850-891-4968 to learn more.
Golick and Wingo.
The refs aren't going to do something this bad and say, oh yeah, I'll screw up my grade and my livelihood. I mean, that's not happening. They just made a procedural error, and it's one they should not make.
And that's a good point that you just made. They're graded like players.
Yes.
They, week to week, are rewarded or punished, and I say punished in air quotes, meaning they're graded up or down, based on their performance in this, which is exactly why it's okay for Drew Brees to say that's unacceptable, because that's the same thing we would do to a player who made an egregious error in that situation. When Drew Brees threw a bad red zone interception at the beginning of the game, we said you can't do that, and Drew Brees usually doesn't. So in this case, it's perfectly okay to hold those officials to the same standard, because they are a third of the game.
Yeah. But I'm glad you made that comparison, right? Because we got to go across the board, right? If that exactly
we do.
Right.
We always roast players and coaches for making mistakes. It's perfectly okay to hold those officials to the same standard.
Golick and Wingo, weekdays at 6 a.m. on 97.9 ESPN Radio. You're listening to The Jeff Cameron Show on 97.9 ESPN Radio.
You better be ready today with poetry and music and sound bites galore. This throat is not going to make it.
I've got inside scoop on the Tampa Bay Lightning negotiations with Braden Point, buddy. That I'm not allowed to share, though.
Not allowed to share it?
No.
Oh, man. I should read some emails before I look ahead. We've got so many that I'm a million miles behind. Any chance Syracuse makes the Clemson game fairly interesting like they have every year?
I don't know. That would have to be the mother of all look-aheads that just happened to them.
My God, that Maryland team in Loxley just laying numbers on people. Just get you some.
Maybe those kids that left us and went to Maryland had the right idea.
Everybody that left anywhere, the Virginia Tech kids that went to Maryland.
Yeah.
Josh Jackson's like, yeah, let's sling it around, baby. They're loving life. It's nuts what's going on up there. I have a hard time believing that that's going to last, but they are off to a start, dropping 70 on people whenever they feel like it. It's pretty bizarre. Let's go back to this. Is Willie all talk? Is the email. This from Noel in Utah. Jeff, 18 months ago or so on your show, you said that a respected former player told you that Coach Taggart was all talk and it was a bad hire. You also said that report created a corner of doubt in your mind. So, after 20 months of observing, is he? Well, it's for different reasons. I will say yes to some degree. I have been disappointed. That is an element that I have been disappointed by. The inconsistency in messaging. We've gone over this countless times. You can't talk about single-digit numbers being for dudes and guys that are
they do things the right way.
Do things the right way, respected leaders of the team, and then roll Nooney Murray out there with a single-digit number. So there was inconsistency there. Allegedly, that happened because Nooney Murray said that he wouldn't play if he didn't get his number.
And you allow that?
Yeah.
I didn't know that.
I said allegedly.
Well, allegedly, I'll see you Monday.
Yeah, I mean, that's a bad thing, right?
That's absurd.
Of course it is.
If that's real, man, you're dropping a bomb on my Wednesday.
I'm just telling you that's why that was. Well, listen, what we do know, even if we don't know for certain the other aspects of it, we do know the kid was allowed to roll out there with that number.
Yeah.
After your coach declared publicly that can't happen.
Yeah, and he got himself ejected out of the Clemson game and chucked his helmet onto the gravel.
And was allowed to play again.
Yeah.
Yeah. So there's inconsistency there. There's been inconsistency about
Dontavius finished the game on Saturday.
Mm-hmm.
That's a joke.
Yeah, it is, Tom. And there are other things that we look back at and we get really, really nervous about. I mean, that we seem to think is something that reveals a lack of conviction in sticking up for and staying true to your principles.
The problem is if the players...
the APR is a big problem for starters.
But if the players ever believe that, if they ever decided that that's what they believe, that he's all talk, then all is lost. I don't think they believe that yet, though. One good thing that happened, one good indicator to me that guys are still bought in, at least on the offensive side of the ball, I don't think I mentioned it on Monday, but on the Cam touchdown, the late one, 44 yards, whatever it was, you're seeing multiple players run down the field, trying to pick up blocks, to escort Cam to take the lead. We're trailing at that point. It's 34-31. You need to go down the field, make some plays to win a game. James Blackman starts the drive with a great throw in a tight window. I know it's against ULM, but that's a big-time throw in a big-time situation. And then later on in the drive, Cam, of course, with the individual effort is great, but you've got Tamorian chasing him down the field.
Sure.
You've got Seven going down the field, DJ Matthews. I think Pokey Wilson was the other one, but whatever it is, you've got three receivers and an offensive lineman booking it and escorting Cam the entire way. I don't think that play happens if guys have completely tuned out the message and say that this is, we've lost to ULM. Even if we come back and win this, it doesn't matter. Screw this. Why am I even here? Those guys are some of the leaders on the team, some of the older players on the team, and they're running with one of the leaders of the team in Cam Akers to make that play happen. If we had quit the way some have suggested maybe it might be happening, that play doesn't exist in that game, especially after ULM has come all the way back.
Right.
That stadium is as it is, empty and angry, and you're trailing on the scoreboard. They would have just packed it in that moment, not finished a drive and scored to take the lead back.
I don't think they've quit. I think that they're being incompetently coached on the defensive side of the football. But I think they want to win. I think they are committed to each other and committed to winning, and they're growing frustrated. And now we're on quit watch. This is where you begin to get on quit watch. When things don't go well repeatedly and guys are continuing to work hard and they're not having success, they obviously begin to wonder, sometimes aloud, about what's going on. And who knows what they're saying behind closed doors. Publicly, I think we've heard some things where they've begun to question whether or not they're put in a position to succeed. So,
yeah.
And I'm talking about the defense right now, obviously. The defense has got to be infinitely frustrated. I feel that's the part of this that we haven't probably stressed enough. I really feel bad for a lot of kids on that defense. Not all of them. Some of them make it difficult for you to care that much about their feelings. But a lot of those kids are good kids who have done everything that's asked of them. They desperately want to win. They've been kind of dealt a crappy situation. Many of those guys committed, as we well know, to the previous coaching regime, only to see that group leave them in the lurch. And then they had to kind of recalibrate their expectations, buy into a new scheme, new coaching staff, new vision. And for the ones that did, and they committed themselves to it, and they worked hard in the face of all that adversity, and then they were told, listen, buy in, believe, be part of the change moving forward. You're going to contribute something significant to Florida State getting back to where they belong, and you'll be part of the cornerstone group that made that happen. Even if it doesn't happen in your remaining 2 years, whatever it might be, you will know you have contributed in a significant way to the success we're going to have with this new coaching staff. And you'll be part of that change. You're sold that, and you buy into it, and you spend those hours in the gym, and you do everything possible to pick up scheme and learn what they want you to do. And then you go out there, and you're getting gashed for 6 yards of carry by ULM. And you look around, and you say, wait a minute, Marvin Wilson doesn't suck. Durden doesn't suck. They're good players. I mean, even if you looked at the players that aren't playing well right now because they don't know how to play the position or they've been asked to play out of position, like Jaden Lars Woodby could have gone anywhere. He's a 5-star kid. He's smart. We both know he's really smart. He's hardworking. He's a good kid. He's not a linebacker. He doesn't, he runs around blocks. He doesn't have real good instinct for the position. He's slow to read plays. And I think it's just because he's never done it and he's out of position. And if you're a player, you look at him and you're like, wait a minute, that guy's a baller. I mean, look at him. Look at his body type. Look at how he's physical. You saw it last year. He wants to hit you. He's not afraid. He's committed. He's smart. He's hardworking. So's this guy and that guy and this guy and this guy and this guy. And you look around, all around you, and you see 30-plus 4- and 5-star players. Are they all dumbasses? Are they all incapable? No. At some point, it doesn't take much, they begin to deduce, our coaches are failing us. These guys don't know what the hell they're talking about. Because every Saturday we go out there and we give up 500-plus yards. It can't be because we're all pathetic. I was recruited by, if you're one of those players, you might say to yourself rhetorically,
oh, yeah.
I was recruited by Georgia, Alabama, Florida, LSU.
I thought you were going to say Kelly. He was going to get you in a good position.
Well, but I'm saying those guys know that they can play. They were the best player on their high school teams. They were the best player in their districts. They were, in some cases, the best player in the state. They dominated. They were in positions to make plays, and they made plays. They come here, and they don't make plays. And they're getting run on by kids that Florida State would never consider recruiting. That are simply not good enough to be here.
Yeah.
And those kids then begin to lose out, they lose hope, and they certainly lose faith in their coaches. I feel for those kids right now. So for all the criticisms of which that are warranted, I really feel for the kids. Now, to be sure, you got kids who talk too much. You got kids, in the case of Dontavius Jackson, who commit selfish, stupid penalties in ridiculous scenarios and situations that cost your team. But they should be pulled from the field. I mean, but for the most part, those are all hardworking, good kids who want to win that are just not in a good position right now. And I don't know, when they quit. I hope they don't. And some kids never will. It's just not in them. But others just get so crestfallen that they can't. They're just broken.
I think the most disappointing thing to me in the Barnett discussion, we're still bad at defensive back. Yeah. You can have an even front, an odd front.
Doesn't matter.
I mean, your job at corner is the same. It's zone or man, whatever it is, right? Safety. Doesn't seem like we have answers there. It doesn't seem like we've gotten a whole lot better in technique there.
Yeah, well, that's why I keep harping on the fact that we're poorly coached. So defensively, I just keep coming back to that. There's no way around it. I'd like to give Harlan a lifeline. I think he's been asked perhaps to do something he didn't want to do, but either way, I mean, he didn't coach well last year. You're not seeing good technique. You don't see it week to week. And now we just see mass confusion. So good luck Saturday. Jeff Cameron Show, 97.9 ESPN Radio.
Sorry, boys, I did not have time to pack.
We got this. It's right here, guys. We got this.
I thought I could handle it.
We got this.
Moving doesn't have to be a hassle. Call us first at 2 Men and a Truck. No matter the move, home or business, we'll make it a smooth one.
I forgot something.
We got this.
Bengals wideout A.J. Green is now out of the protective boot on his injured ankle. There's still no timeline for his return from surgery in July. Giants wideout Sterling Shepard is now in the concussion protocol. Linebacker Kareem Martin will miss multiple weeks with a knee injury. For the first time since 2002, Team USA will not win a medal at the FIBA Basketball World Cup. France beats the Americans today 89-79. Team USA will play 2 consolation games in China to wrap up the tournament. Seattle Storm forward Natasha Howard is the WNBA Defensive Player of the Year. The Storm host the Minnesota Lynx in a 1-game playoff at 10 Eastern tonight on ESPN2.
Games for Less, the only locally owned and operated gaming store in town, has Tallahassee's largest selection of new and used video games and game systems. The future of video gaming is at Games for Less, where they have both the PS4 and Xbox One. It's time to trade in your old systems and elevate your gaming experience now. Games for Less is also your headquarters for the best in retro gaming. Atari 2600, original Nintendo, Super NES, or Sega Genesis, you name it. They got it at Games for Less. Games for Less, the Super Walmart Shopping Center on Appalachia Parkway. Give them a call today at 850-219-3535. That's Games for Less. We all want more energy, more strength, more results. Well, welcome to Orange Theory Fitness as you take a step towards feeling more alive today. Backed by science, Orange Theory's heart rate monitored workout is scientifically designed to keep heart rates in a target zone, spiking metabolism and increasing energy. Orange Theory Fitness is a one-of-a-kind group personal training workout resulting in more energy, visible toning, and extra calorie burn for up to 36 hours. Experience a more vibrant life today with Orange Theory Fitness. To find out more, go to orangetheoryfitness.com. Thursdays are Friday Eve, and that's a reason to celebrate. No matter what you're looking for, they've got you covered every Thursday down in College Town. Centrale offers 50% off select pizzas all day, every Thursday. Or you can stop by Township for Taco Thursday. $2 house tacos, $2. Madison Social offers the Social Agreement. You and a buddy can split 1 order of wings, 2 Madso burgers, 2 bourbons, 2 proof Madison Socials, all for just $40. See what they did there? And don't worry about parking. Plenty of spaces available in the parking deck or surrounding lots. Check out all the Thursday College Town deals right now on Thursdaysincollegetown.com.
Tallahassee Dodge Chrysler Jeep Ram is the Jeep headquarters of America. We've purchased over 100 Jeep Renegades, and they've all arrived and are on the lot for immediate delivery. 2018 Jeep Renegade Latitude with MSRP starting at $25,120. On sale now for $18,870. That's a savings of $6,250. A new Jeep starting at only $18,870. Those prices are unheard of and can only be found at your Jeep headquarters of America, Tallahassee Dodge Chrysler Jeep Ram. No other dealer can offer you this kind of savings. We buy in mass quantities and pass along the savings to you. 2018 Jeep Renegade Latitude, starting at $18,870. Payments as low as $299 a month. On the corner of West Tennessee and Capitol Circle, where we're right on the corner and always right on the price. Check us out on the web at TallahasseeDCJ.com. All prices include rebates and incentives plus tax, title, and dealer fee. State number 18J605. Must finance through Chrysler Capital and qualify for all rebates and incentives.
Hardee's new Monster Roast Beef Sandwich is stacked with slow-cooked roast beef, slices of crispy applewood smoked bacon, all covered in layers of melted cheese. This tasty triple threat is kind of like an epic no-hands backflip on a wild Mustang while spearing a great white shark. How you got a wild horse out in the middle of the ocean isn't important. What's important is that the new Monster Roast Beef Combo with fries and a Dr. Pepper is only available at Hardee's.
Available for a limited time after regular breakfast hours at participating Hardee's. Dr. Pepper is a registered trademark of Dr. Pepper 7-Up, Inc.
Cornerstone Tool and Fastener and Makita welcome back football season. And to kick it off, we are bringing the best deals of the year. Buy a brushless premium Makita 5-amp-hour kit, get an instant $50 gift rebate, and your choice of another bare tool free. Plus, we are adding in another 5-amp battery for free. That's 3 batteries and 3 tools. Check out our specials on cordless blowers, chainsaws, compressors, and so much more. Cornerstone Tool and Fastener, 1110 Stuckey Ave in Tallahassee and 3269 Crawfordville Highway. Tallahassee location open Saturdays 8 a.m. to noon. Online at ctf.nu.
The Jeff Cameron Show podcast, available on demand at ESPNTallahassee.com and on iTunes today. The Jeff Cameron Show podcast is brought to you by Garnet and Gold of Tallahassee. When you buy FSU apparel, support local business. GarnetandGold.com. Broadcasting live from the Tallahassee Dodge Chrysler Jeep Ram Fiat Studios in the capital city of Tallahassee. This is the Jeff Cameron Show on 97.9 ESPN Radio. Balls McWednesday, brought to you by Hobbit American Grill. Hobbit American Grill, celebrating 40 years of serving good food to good friends for good times. Online at myhobbitonline.com.
Jeff Cameron Show, 97.9 ESPN Radio. A couple of interesting articles out there I want to make reference to. One that I'll touch on in a moment, but another one, you guys know Bud Elliott from Tomahawk Nation and also The Banner, wrote an interesting piece on second-year Power 5 coaches that are struggling mightily as a group. And I would figure when, misery loves company, you'd like to go read about how it is that these second-year coaches are really, really awful right now. If you look at the expectations by way of Vegas as a group, they're just 6-19 against the spread to start 2019. And if you remove Matt Luke and Mario Cristobal, who were promotions from within existing staffs, they're just 4-17. So it's bad.
A lot of rebuilds around college football, yeah.
But especially bad when compared to, in the point of this article, and I think it was necessary, and I was, you and I we didn't touch this specifically and this detailed as the article, so I don't want to take any credit away from Bud, but you and I were talking, you go back, I think most college football fans in general recognize that typically speaking, people in their second year at a new place, there's a huge bump. There's real success, and that if you're going to go on and win like a national championship, it happens early in your tenure when people have embraced the change. They're bought in. For example, Bob Stoops, Urban Meyer, Jim Tressel, even Gene Chizik all won national championships in their second year at a location. So we're used to seeing, and even the guys that don't come close. Look at Georgia with Kirby Smart early in his time. Like these guys, they come in. There's a radical shift. Everybody's bought in. And, you have let's say you alter recruiting a little bit, and the next thing you know, you go on a run. And there's a real belief by year 2 and 3, you're seeing a huge uptick in production.
I don't think it's possible in most places, though, anymore because you have the big two up at the top. And it's hard to crack those two, especially given that they get kind of a strike. You could still get in the college football playoff easily with a loss if you're Alabama or Clemson now. You have to be loaded when that coach comes in. Like Jimbo in year 2, even though he was already on the offensive side of the ball.
He had a head start. Yeah.
We lost 4 games in 2011.
Yeah, but he still had a head start in building the base for what becomes
We had
dynasty.
a rebuild on our hands, and he was doing some of the rebuilding.
As an assistant.
That
helped a lot.
It did.
That's where the head coach and waiting thing really helped out. For a while there, people thought, this head coach and waiting thing isn't going to get it done. Look around college football. This isn't going to get it done. It helped Florida State immensely.
Yeah, I'd say, you're seeing a significant bump on the offense. This weekend will be a really good test, as the competition level comes up.
In competition. I mean, yeah.
I think Boise was decent competition. I really
No, I don't think they're bad. I just don't think they're elite. I don't think they're that good.
I don't think they're all that dissimilar in quality level from Virginia, though. I got to be honest.
Well, that may be true. In terms of quality of athlete and player,
yeah,
sure.
Yeah, and they may have more experience in terms of trench play and more upper-end talent because they're going to send 2 guys to the top 50 of the draft, one on either side of the ball.
Yeah, on their offensive line, that's for sure. You're right about the Curtis kid on the other side of the ball. The only thing I'd say is Virginia's got 8 returning starters on defense and a first-round, early projected, early second-round corner. Only one in that secondary. The rest of that secondary is whatever. But
pretty slow.
Yeah, but the one corner's not. And so 8 returning starters, fundamentally sound. Bronco Mendenhall, S&P, they've gone from in the 90s all the way into the 30s. We've seen them build and build and build through development.
Listen, they're more detail-oriented than we are.
Oh, well,
otherwise,
who the hell isn't?
We'd be traveling up there, and this would be a laugher if you go talent for talent. And that's kind of like, the standard argument week in and week out why we get so pissed
aspect
off.
Of all this, yes.
But I just would say, on balance, if you're looking for a year 2 increase in productivity, or it looks like some things are getting fixed, not everything is worse. The defense is worse, and that's crazy because we have the same person year to year. But what Kendall and Randy are indicating to us here is that the offense is much more competent, at the very least, if not markedly better.
It's also statistically accurate that it is markedly improved, appreciably better, however you want to describe it.
Top 10 in opponent-adjusted efficiency ratings,
all
whatever.
That stuff, yeah. Well, and I'm summarizing. Go read the article. I want to give Bud his just due here, but he's theorizing something here based around recruiting, and it's his thought process is how rushed everything became because 2018 was the first early signing period for college football. And when a coach was hired in late November prior to 2018 or in early December, he had 10 weeks to figure this all out, to get his coaching staff together and salvage something of a class and bring his own guys in and all of that, to catch up on the relationships that existed with the previous coaches, all that stuff. You had time. But then you get an abbreviated recruiting class, which was signed by coaches that, you're coming in and putting together a staff and still trying to do something with it. And just everything is accelerated.
Yeah.
And there were swings and misses.
Well, and there are kids off the table. Like there are some kids that would be potentially still listening to phone calls in February. Even if they had the opportunity to sign in December, if it was taken away from them, they might say, well, wait a minute. You know what? I wasn't considering Florida State before. I wasn't considering Kirby Smart before. But I like what he's saying. And you might be able to flip 1 or 2, and that may be all the difference you need.
Yeah, so now the early signing period happens just before Christmas, and the argument, the theory that's out there that Bud's positing is that, well, you had 3 weeks to put together a staff and sign your prospects. And, you look at the percentage of FBS recruits that signed in the early period, because you still had a chance, 90% of the recruits that year signed in the early signing period. So you didn't really,
what's your pool? Yeah.
Your pool was tiny.
Yeah.
And probably discarded. Well, a lot of those kids were just,
I think part of the problem is, and who's in this list? It's Willie, Chip Kelly, Jeremy Pruitt. I mean, they all took over disasters. I mean, like
Scott Frost. Chip Kelly, Jeremy
This isn't Kirby
Pruitt.
Smart going over to Georgia because Mark Richt can't finish the job. It's like, whoa, Florida State is on the brink of not making a bowl when Willie takes over, and of course we finished the job last year. Tennessee's been an absolute disaster and mess, and then UCLA. I mean,
well, and as we also know that this is a small sample size, and let's monitor situations. I mean, they could very well be that. Things are simultaneously true, that this could be an impetus for some of the problems in some of those places. Could also be that they were bad hires, and maybe it doesn't work out for those guys. There are other outlying issues that we'll have to continue to monitor, but it's at least something to kick around. I thought it was fascinating, worth making reference to, but misery does love company, so look around at all those
a lot of company.
a lot of year two guys really kind of suck and win.
Peace.
Sorry, boys, I did not have time to pack.
We got this.
It's right here, guys.
We got this.
I thought I could handle it.
We got this.
Moving doesn't have to be a hassle. Call us first at 2 Men and a Truck. No matter the move, home or business, we'll make it a smooth one.
I forgot something.
We got this.
Now is your chance to be a part of that. Single game tickets are on sale now as the Noles take on Louisville Saturday, September 21st inside Doak Campbell Stadium. Don't get left out of the best tradition in all of sports. Purchase your tickets today to see Florida State football live in person. Call 888-FSU-NOLE or visit Seminoles.com today.
Tallahassee loves the corner pocket as much as a crystal ball winning catch.
He's looking, he lost it to the end zone. It's Benjamin! Touchdown! With 13 seconds left!
The 97.9 ESPN radio special is a must-have every Monday and Wednesday at the corner pocket. 10 mouth-watering wings, a fresh side of fries, and a chilled domestic pint of beer are just $9.79 all day long. Be sure and try the fish blend of sauces, a true wing eater's favorite. The Corner Pocket Bar and Grill.
He's gone!
Home of Trivia Tuesday, Beer Bingo Thursday, and the daily $7.99 lunch special.
Pickens Tree Service has over 25 years of experience in cutting down trees and removing stumps in the Tallahassee area. While you may appreciate the beauty of foliage on your property, certain trees may pose a health risk to the owners. Pickens Tree Service will help you identify these potential issues and take preventative measures to remove the risk along with the tree. Just give them a call for a free estimate at 850-590-1833. That's 850-590-1833. Pickens Tree Service, Tallahassee, Thomasville, Quincy, Crawfordville, and surrounding areas.
Hi, I'm Jeff, founder of Which Superior Sandwiches, and I'm here to tell you about our signature Which, the Wicked. Why call it the Wicked? Some say it's wicked tasty, some say it's wicked large. One thing's for sure, with oven-roasted turkey, ham, pepperoni, roast beef, and bacon, as well as your choice of 3 cheeses, it definitely takes you from wicked hungry to wicked happy in just a few wicked good bites. Only at Which Superior Sandwiches.
On Wednesday, the Wicked is just $5. 5 meats, 3 cheeses, $5.
Your next haircut now has a shortcut. Introducing the Sport Clips Haircuts app. That's right, now the cut you want is just a tap away. Just download the app, check in at your neighborhood Sport Clips, and choose your Guy Smart stylist, and you're done. We'll text you when your stylist is almost ready. Then head to Sport Clips for a championship haircut experience. It's home field advantage for your hair. No appointment needed. Just download the Sport Clips app and check in. And don't forget a beard trim. Sport Clips. You choose the cut, we cut the weight.
Come visit the new and exciting Hangar 38. This amazing place is for everyone listening right now. Practice your bowling skills, compete, and have fun. Whether you're a newbie, an all-star, or a beer frame champion, no matter how you roll, you'll find the best place to bowl is at Hangar 38. Hangar 38 is home to over 75 arcade games, so they're sure to have something for everyone. Zeppelin's at Hangar 38 is a premier full-service restaurant and sports bar, and it's also your place for birthday parties and company outings. Tallahassee, what are you waiting for? Come on out to Zeppelin's Hangar 38, 6668 Thomasville Road behind Walgreens.
Not every law firm is the same. For example, you don't hire a divorce attorney to handle a foreclosure. The same goes for your insurance claim. Hire a firm that has the knowledge and experience in handling insurance matters. The Morgan Law Group is dedicated solely to this cause, fighting insurance claims that are underpaid, delayed, or denied. With offices throughout Florida, the Morgan Law Group covers claims for all hurricanes, storms, mold, fires, boats, and even sinkholes. Representing the policyholder, going after the insurance companies. The Morgan Law Group. Offices Miami, Orlando, Naples, and Panama City. Online at policyadvocate.com.
Not an employee or member of a law firm.
See, very intrigued by the Dan Le Batard Show on ESPN Radio.
Chris, can you look up for me just the last couple of years in terms of penalties at Navy and Army? Because I also believe they never cheat.
They asked one of the kids on Army, were you intimidated on the road, 100,000 people, the big house? He's like, we're the Army, man.
What are you talking about? That's a Harbaugh over there.
The Dan Le Batard Show, weekdays at 10 a.m. on 97.9 ESPN Radio. Driving every day from the Tallahassee Dodge Chrysler Jeep Ram Fiat Studios. This is 97.9 ESPN Radio, WTSM, Woodville, Thomasville, Tallahassee.
ESPN Radio Sports Center.
I'm Doug Brown. Patriots wide receiver Antonio Brown is on the practice field today, his first practice with the team. That news, though, is being pushed aside by the allegations of sexual assault against Brown by his former trainer, Brittany Taylor. ESPN's Adam Schefter reports Taylor is planning to meet with the NFL next week after she gets married. And our Ryan Smith describes why the lawsuit against Brown is civil and not criminal.
We don't know if she went to police, if she reported this to police. And if she didn't report it to police and police didn't know about it, it would be hard for them to do anything about it. A lot of times in cases like this, people will not go to the police. And again, not saying one thing about the accusations or another, but I've seen in many cases where people are victims of assault and they feel like it's an uphill battle. They feel like their life is going to be dragged to the mud and it's something they don't want to do.
Ryan Smith on First Take. Brown's agent, Drew Rosenhaus, says he and his client were anticipating the possibility that a lawsuit could be filed. He wouldn't say if the Patriots were informed about that possibility before signing Brown. Bengals wideout A.J. Green is now out of the protective boot on his injured ankle. There's still no timeline for his return from surgery in July. Giants wideout Sterling Shepard is now in the concussion protocol. Linebacker Kareem Martin will miss multiple weeks with a knee injury. For the first time since 2002, Team USA will not win a medal at the FIBA Basketball World Cup. France beats the Americans today 89-79. Team USA will play 2 consolation games in China to wrap up the tournament. Seattle Storm forward Natasha Howard is the WNBA Defensive Player of the Year. The Storm host the Minnesota Lynx in a 1-game playoff at 10 Eastern tonight on ESPN2.
Broadcasting live from the Tallahassee Dodge Chrysler Jeep Ram Fiat Studios in the capital city of Tallahassee. This is the Jeff Cameron Show on 97.9 ESPN Radio. Balls McWednesday, brought to you by Hobbit American Grill. Hobbit American Grill, celebrating 40 years of serving good food to good friends for good times. Online at myhobbitonline.com.
Hour number 2, Jeff Cameron Show, 97.9 ESPN Radio. Thanks for tuning to it. You know, most years, and I just want to bring this up, we're primarily sticking to the usual daily content today, just the straightforward, having some fun with the sports world. But I don't want to completely ignore the anniversary of 9/11, obviously. And most years, Tom and I have actually had a little conversation about it in the same way that so many other people were affected. We've expressed our stories, but a lot of you emailed, and you know, some of you even talked about your experiences. I don't want you to think that we're just, you know, heathens over here that don't pay respect. We most certainly do. But I didn't, it's going on everywhere at this time, as it should be, and in the appropriate places, obviously. But I don't feel like we always have to be, to do that, just to do it. I mean, obviously, we know the significance of it. But I also didn't want you guys who sent in emails, many of which, including one here from Jerry, and there's a few others, that talked about remembering me being on the air on 9/11 and all of that. And I appreciate you guys sending those in. And but I've shared that experience, and Tom has certainly shared his profound experience. And we remember like everybody else. But we're gonna roll on. But our thoughts are with all those affected, obviously. But it's an awkward way. It's not a good segue to start an hour. But I'm not going to mention it again the rest of the day. And I didn't want somebody to be like, "Whoa, these guys, they're just over here yucking it up, laughing their ass off on a Wednesday."
No, our job is to bring levity to the world, or the Tallahassee market at the very least.
Well, these days.
Worldwide on the podcast. But trust me, folks, personally, today's not a good one for me. Never is.
No. It's, and for so many people, obviously. So I'm acknowledging it, but then we're moving forward. I want you to think it's all just jokes and laughter. Hey, by the way, also another awkward segue. Can we welcome in our friends from the Southwood Golf Course that are a golf club that are now part of the Jeff Cameron Show and ESPN Tallahassee, and you'll be hearing spots moving forward in the future for our friends at Southwood, and you'll be seeing us out there golfing quite a bit in the not-too-distant future. I was just telling you during the break, Tom, that perhaps you and I should join up now that we're members at Southwood to get into a little October matchup there where we can two-man scramble it, buddy.
Nothing better than a two-man scramble on a Saturday night.
It was too easy, huh? Two-person night golf scramble. Let's go with it.
Oh, God, no. You know how I've been playing this off? This is my worst, worst summer ever.
Yeah, it's all right.
This is my worst summer since maybe 14, 15 years old.
It's about the experience.
Maybe it's just tied to the program. I don't know. Maybe my golf game is tied to
how Florida State's playing? Well, this show so frequently is. When you talk about the need to sometimes add levity, to those who certainly are well aware of all that's going on around us in the real world, that's true, too, when your sports teams have leapt from a cliff. This is tough times for all that are rooting for the Bucks and the Noles.
We just need not...
Or the Dolphins.
Woo. That's... I almost feel like at least you're not in limbo if you're the Dolphins, though.
Well, Tom, this is an interesting subject. Sorry to interrupt, but you just led me right to it.
You're tearing it down. You're tearing the building down to,
Yeah, no, I don't like this at all. This is bad for sports across the board. I'm tired of teams and all these franchises in various sports, the NBA, Major League Baseball, and the NFL tanking. It's not good. It's not good for the game. And in football, it's dangerous. You're going to get people hurt.
Well, the weird thing I think about this one, though, is, okay, typically in football, you tank for what?
A
quarterback,
pick.
right?
Yeah, but the best one's not coming out.
But they just traded for Rosen. That's the thing that I don't understand. So did you trade for him just so he could sit behind Fitzpatrick for the entire season?
He'll take over before it's over. I mean, Fitzpatrick, what the hell are you doing?
But, okay, so if your goal is to tank, again, I reiterate, is there like some sort of pass rusher or offensive tackle that is somebody you've got to have? Is there Quentin Nelson at tackle coming out of the draft this year? Because if you traded for Josh Rosen, you would think you're going to give him a year or two, or is he going to be shipped off to another franchise next year because Miami tanked successfully and they can go get Tua with a top 2 pick?
It's a strange thing to do at this point because the guy you're going to want isn't coming out for 2 years in Trevor Lawrence. So he's not coming out this year. He's coming out the following year. So you would want him. I mean, this is almost inarguable. That's who you want. I'm not so sure you wouldn't want the Herbert kid from Oregon over Tua in the NFL. But anyhow, I guess you could tank for either one of those two. But in the NFL, man, you're putting a substandard product on the field, guys that are slower, weaker, however you want to call it. I mean, they got rid of, and they announced their intentions, obviously, when they shipped off their starting left tackle. And I mean, what are you doing? You're going to get somebody hurt. That just strikes me as incredibly odd. And then when you read the reports in the Miami Herald that players came off the field after a 49-point beatdown in the opening weekend, calling their agents, saying, get me the hell out of here. This is an organization that doesn't want to play football. I'm not here to get my head caved in because I'm playing with, inferior players. This is not, no, that you're making a mockery of what I hold dear here in terms of competition and trying your best and putting your best foot forward. It's hard to do in football, man. I think it is.
But I don't know.
But it's better than being middling is what you're going to say. But man.
If you're going to try and rebuild with a new coach, then you do what you got to do. Listen, I know it sucks for the current players, but any rebuild sucks for the current player. It sucks for Florida State right now that we're in a rebuild.
I think that is a salary cap league that has shown you time and again that you can go from 2-14 to 8-8 to 10-6 in a 3-year span. You can go 1-15, make the playoffs the next year. It's happened. These are examples, concrete examples. It has happened. Teams finish last and go to first. It happens all the time. You do not have to go all in and tank and go 0-16 so that you can get one guy whom you're not even sure is going to make it. You don't know that.
No, I think the argument is better to say that you get two guys in the top 35, and that's where you get a little bit stronger.
I mean, we know statistically the hit rate on these quarterbacks. Yeah. I mean, come on.
Well, this is what I don't understand. They have a quarterback that just went number 1, or a first-round pick, I should say.
Pick, yeah.
He went 10 or 12, whatever it was, to Arizona 2 years ago, and you traded for that guy. So you're gonna find the offensive line that you never had, to protect the guy, and that's what the rebuild or the tanking is all about. But they went through camp with a lot of good pieces, and it's almost like they came to the conclusion after camp, it ain't gonna work. That's the weird thing here.
Well, I mean, they could have come to that conclusion every year that Tom Brady's been in New England. It sucks for them. Nobody's been able to unseat New England. But that's a horrible message to send to your other players, to your organization, to the fan base. Who's ever going to go out and support that nonsense? Ever? I mean,
Miami, they'll support them when they start winning. That's what you're doing is, no pun intended, you're punting on your ticket revenue and all that kind of stuff in the short term. Because you think the moment we start winning, people will show up. And that's absolutely true. That happens especially in the state of Florida.
But in basketball, you can go get LeBron James, or you can go get the next great wonderkin that you see coming out of college or high school that is a can't-miss prospect. You can go get somebody that is transcendent. We see these players identified pretty freely in basketball. And in basketball, one guy can lead you to a winning season. I mean, you could just have a monster. Zion could lead New Orleans to a winning season because he's a freak of nature. Within 2 years, he may be the best player in the league. We'll see. But it's more easily identifiable where one guy changes an entire lineup. LeBron changed who Cleveland was instantly. Man, that's not so in the NFL. It's the ultimate team game. You can have, say you draft Saquon Barkley, who I think we probably believe is the best player in that draft, right? He's a transcendent running back, a freak of. They suck to high heaven, and they're not going to be any good anytime soon. What are you doing? I don't see it in football. If your defense is a sieve and your offensive line can't block, but you know what? You lost more games because you tanked and you're able to get the quarterback you wanted. You got Tua. Good luck.
Well, again, why to get Rosen in the first place? That's where I don't understand what the idea is. But the idea of tanking, like,
in the NFL,
I'd rather go 3-13 than 8-8 if I'm an NFL. Absolutely, because then I'm picking in the teens and all the good guys or the can't miss guys are off the board. I mean, look at the Bucs. We have a walk-off win against the Saints 2 years ago.
Yeah, and it cost us Quentin Nelson.
Yeah,
yes, I'm still pissed about it. I send you a clip a day about Quentin Nelson.
You'd have Marpet and Quentin Nelson.
Yeah,
for what? You needed that win.
Yeah, but Quentin Nelson was drafted 11th. I mean. Yes, that win cost us. There's an example. But if you're truly tanking, you're trying to go 1-15, 2-14, 0-16, and you're trying to get, in this case, I'm guessing you're trying to get a quarterback. And that means you still have all of these other weaknesses. Your offensive line is terrible. You're weak on defense. You don't have a marquee player at wide receiver. What's that guy going to come in and do? He's going to get his head kicked in, just like Troy Aikman did before it was a salary cap league. Go 1-15 your first year.
Yeah.
I mean, it just... I don't know, man.
I think he looked at the situation. He said, all right, well, if we keep everybody, we'll be 5-11. Why are we doing that? Let's not spin our wheels. By the time we build it back to where we want to go, these guys won't even be here in the first place. So why don't we get what we can and sell off our assets? And we're just going to have to wear it. Clearly, the organization is behind him. He's a first-year head coach.
I'm not saying that they're not behind it. I don't think it's healthy for the sport. I don't think it's a wise strategy in the National Football League. I think if you're going through your season, so under that logic, Tom, we pretty much know that there are 3-5 teams that are got a chance to win the Super Bowl this year. We pretty much know that almost any given year. The Patriots are always one of them. Currently, Kansas City's one of them. Philadelphia. We probably put together maybe 8 to 10 teams.
Yeah.
All right, maybe. Should everybody just tank? Should everybody else go out there and go? Should the Bucs just say screw it? The Bucs aren't winning a damn thing, even if they have a great year.
Well, the Bucs believe, rightly or wrongly, that they're building towards something and they have most of the pieces. I think what the Dolphins came to the conclusion about after camp was we're not even close. So let's get what we can for what we have it's not going to serve us any good. Like I think the Bucs are moving towards something in their own organizational.
Yeah.
They're looking at their assets. They're saying, all right, we're moving towards something here.
I agree with Arians. Within the first couple of years, you got to create a winning culture. You got to shift the mindset of the way you think when you play football and what you're building towards. And I don't think you can do it by telling guys through actions off the field, if you will, that you're going out there to get your head kicked in every NFL Sunday.
Should you go all in if you have Lamar Jackson as your quarterback?
They did. I mean, they believe in him.
Is that the right move?
Well, I wouldn't have drafted Lamar Jackson anyhow. I don't think he can play. Now, he had an incredible opening weekend against the Dolphins. Everybody will. That's different. That's a philosophical debate about whether or not you think you can build your offense around Lamar Jackson and win in this league.
Are you better off doubling down on that guy? Or
Well, they think so. Clearly, they think so. I would disagree with that.
Yeah.
But that's different than telling your organization we're shipping off any good player we have and we're going to get our ass beat by 50 every week because we really want Tua. I don't get it. You're just creating a losing mindset in the most physical sport in the world. I can't. It's brutal.
But it's a salary cap league, and most of those guys will be gone by the time you rise to where you want to go.
Because it's a salary cap league, you can win and go from last to first. It's been proven time and again, over and over and over. You can get there quickly.
Yeah, but I'm saying they didn't make all these moves in April. They did after they assessed what they had, and they said, "Geez, Flores."
I think they could have known before they started camp. The players were the players.
So you should go max out and do everything you can to
You
win.
should try to win
6-10.
Sure, yeah. You should always be trying to win as many games as you possibly can until you recognize. Now, let's say you're out of it. Here's where I'll meet you in the middle.
They're taking the middleman out of it. They're saying screw your middle process.
That's right.
September.
That's right. They are. There have been very weird seasons. They exist. It does happen where you probably have low expectations. You get out there and all of a sudden you got a little something you didn't realize you had, and some magic is born. You get a turnover luck in your favor early on. Yeah. Next thing you know, a little momentum builds, and you're 4-4 through 8, and you thought you were going to be a 2-6 team. And all of a sudden, those guys begin to believe. And your schedule's favorable, and you go 8-8, and you make the playoffs as a wild card. Your fan base is excited. You're making money. Ticket sales go up, etc. I'm playing for that, man. I'm not playing to go out here and go 1-15 and hope like hell I'm not wrong about a good college quarterback. Because countless teams have selected a guy they thought they could not miss with at quarterback, and we know those percentages are very small that you get it right and have a transcendent. I mean, hell, even Brady was a 6th-round pick. They didn't know.
Well,
they had no
that's,
idea. No,
that's a massive outlier.
But my point would be there aren't too many cases where with great certainty, 100% even Andrew Luck, one of the most talented quarterbacks we've ever seen come down the pike, is out of the freaking league.
What's more likely, that a quarterback goes in the top 5 and is a franchise quarterback, or he's somewhere out there in nebulous in like the 2nd, 3rd, 4th, 5th, or 6th
I'm not saying he's
rounds.
nebulous. If you find a guy you fall in love with, you can make trades, you can do things to help out your franchise. I understand you have to give away draft pick and assets to do that. I think that is the better way to go than to just give up on the season before it starts. Before you even play, they gave up before they played a game. I cannot back that. I would say this. If we're 6-6 and we're out of the playoffs and we got 4 games to play and the difference is going to be we draft, 15th or 5th, yeah, let's see what our backups can do in these remaining 4 games. I'm with you there.
Yeah, I think what they're arguing is
I'm with you there.
I'd rather draft 2nd than 10th because there's no lottery balls. So I know for a fact that I'm going to be a top 2 or top 3 pick, so it'll be Herbert, Tua, or whatever. Once again, I reiterate for like the 4th time, why they got Rosen, if this is going to be their plan, I have no idea. But
yeah, they don't seem to have a plan is what I would argue. But I don't think you would do it no matter what, even if they hadn't done that, even if he wasn't there and they hadn't.
If he wasn't there and it's a perfect situation where you have a Fitzpatrick, like a McCown, and you need a quarterback in the worst way and you've got nothing else going for you. I kind of do see the logic behind it. I do. What's 5 and 10 going to do for you in season ticket sales that 2 and 14 was, is it going to be that much better? 2,000 more season ticket sales?
I'm saying you do irreparable damage in the locker room, and you create a losing culture and a losing mindset. And now next year I got to tell all those same guys that just walked out there who I gave up on, who the franchise gave up on a year ago, and say, all right, now we need to buck up, guys. Let's go. Here we go. It's about winning football. I agree with Bruce Arians. I don't think you can do that. I don't think it's that easy. We'll find out. The Dolphins are clearly going to make an effort in this way. Now, they're a poorly run franchise, so maybe it makes no difference. There are a lot of things wrong with the Dolphins.
I think that's where the Dolphins fan kicked back in and said, yeah, that's it. I've been saying that for 20 minutes yelling at my radio. We're just a
poorly run
crappy franchise.
I also disagree with the mindset, even if it was a well-run franchise doing it. Jeff Cameron Show, 97.9 ESPN Radio.
I see guys and girls.
Sorry, boys, I did not have time to pack.
We got this. It's right here, guys. We got this.
I thought I could handle it.
We got this.
Moving doesn't have to be a hassle. Call us first at 2 Men and a Truck. No matter the move, home or business, we'll make it a smooth one.
I forgot something.
We got this.
Let us guide you through the process and get you the compensation you deserve. Call 855-HOSE-305 to make an appointment for your free consultation today. If you can't come to us, we can come to you, day or night. Call us now, 855-HOSE-305, the law office of Jose Fernandez. We don't get paid unless you do. Offices, Tallahassee, Miami. Se habla español. JRFinjury.com.
Me and my friends always went to Whataburger freshman year. We realized that we were having a lot of fun, and so we started putting out flyers saying Whataburger Social, and it just took off from there and started getting really big. One of the weeks we got up to 65 people. We definitely have a lot of people that order the honey barbecue chicken strip sandwich, hearty chicken strips, Texas toast, the barbecue sauce pouring off the sides, cheese melts on top, delicious. The honey barbecue chicken strip sandwich, that's my all-time favorite.
Roofing and construction services. TSparkConstruction.com.
Are you starting a new business or expanding your business? Looking for the right general contractor to assist you with the tenant space build-out? Look no further. From restaurant to retail, we have the experience to work with you. At T-Spark Enterprises, we are ready to be a part of your vision and build a space that exceeds your expectations. Whether you're looking for design build or build from your own design, give us a call today for a free consultation. As the owner of T-Spark Enterprises, I guarantee when it comes to your business space, we only provide picture-perfect results.
Call 850-766-1340. T-Spark Enterprises, roofing and construction services. TSparkConstruction.com.
License number CGC 1525336.
Fonville Lewis Messer McConaughey sponsors Braves baseball so that all of you can enjoy the action. Ever since the days of Hank Aaron and Dale Murphy, we've been Tallahassee's home run hitting law firm. And because we don't get paid unless we win, we want to win every case as much as Chipper Jones wanted to win every game. So when you're injured, don't just trust any law firm to handle your case. Make the call to the bullpen for a trusted closer. To see our stats on the back of our baseball card, visit wrongfullyinjured.com. Fonville Lewis Messer McConaughey. Personal injury law is all we do.
Florida State football is upon us, and Garnet and Gold is your football-ready destination. With the latest Nike footwear, team-issued apparel, sideline headwear, and Nike coaches polos all in stock right now. Whether you're on the sidelines, in the stands, or watching the game at home, it's time to get football ready. Step up your wardrobe with a hot new line of FSU apparel in stock right now at all 3 Garnet and Gold locations, West Pensacola Street in Killarn near Fresh Market, or on Governor Square Boulevard. If you're a Seminole, wear your store.
Noel fans, 97.9 ESPN Radio's exclusive home for 2019 away game watch parties is Hangar 38 in Bannerman Crossing.
Looking for the slant. This time Terry's got it, and he's into the end zone. That's a Florida State touchdown.
The Jeff Cameron Show crew will be on hand for every Seminole away football game for contests, prizes, and a good time.
They'll feed it to him again. Look out. Touchdown. touchdown.
So when the Knolls hit the road, join us at Hangar 38 in Bannerman Crossing, the exclusive watch party headquarters for 97.9 ESPN Radio, Tallahassee's sports monster.
Cornerstone Tool and Fastener in Makita welcome back football season. And to kick it off, we are bringing the best deals of the year. Buy a brushless premium Makita 5-amp-hour kit, get an instant $50 gift rebate, and your choice of another bare tool free. Plus, we are adding in another 5-amp battery for free. That's 3 batteries and 3 tools. Check out our specials on cordless blowers, chainsaws, compressors, and so much more. Cornerstone Tool and Fastener, 1110 Stuckey Ave in Tallahassee and 3269 Crawfordville Highway. Tallahassee location open Saturdays, 8 a.m. to noon. Online at ctf.nu.
Who's ready for the best wings in Tally and locally brewed beers? Hobbit American Grill is the place to be. They've been voted Tally's best wings again in 2018. Hobbit offers Bingo Mondays, happy hour all-day Fridays with craft beers on tap from all the local breweries. And the Hobbit is your home for all the UFC fights with plenty of high-def TVs for everyone. Be on the lookout for the food truck coming soon with the best lip-smacking wings in town. Hobbit American Grill, celebrating 40 years of serving great food to great friends for good times. For info on their hours and 3 locations, visit them online at myhobbitonline.com.
You're locked in with the Jeff Cameron Show on 97.9 ESPN Radio.
Oh, you know how you get so mad about the different shades of garnet?
Yeah, like what you're wearing right now is our current color, I think. It's close to our color.
I didn't even know what I was wearing. I forgot. But you're right.
It's like pink.
That's not pink. That's
No,
purple.
no.
That's real purple.
Just joking.
No, I like pink. But if I was wearing pink, I'd go all in on the pink.
Because remember, I'm talking about, when
we're under the...
Remember the flag? Like the first one we had when we changed the colors? It was faded pink.
Yeah, and you can't convince me. I look around the country every weekend. We're looking at the slate of games. You look at everybody's... I know it's a non-topic right now when we're sucking so bad. It's the least of our worries. But you just want to add to our misery. Everybody gets the uniforms right. Most places get the uniforms right.
We're getting the white numbers next year, buddy.
We're going to be Regal on Saturday. We'll be traveling up there to get our ass stomped in those beautiful white-on-whites with the garnet.
Mm-hmm.
That's a good look. That's a great look.
Hopefully they get the shoulders to match the numbers next year. Maybe that'll come with the white numbers.
Wouldn't that be something?
Would be nice.
I am intrigued, and I will be intrigued, if not on a weekly basis, but, from the big picture view, how this plays out. I think we have a guess. It's all negative swirling around right now, but how we get to that end is fascinating. There's a lot of stuff that has to be done behind the scenes.
Did you notice that we're not alone in uniforms, though? Because ULM, as an example, their numbers were completely different than the stripes that they had on their sleeves.
I didn't look at them.
Yeah.
I was too busy watching them go up and down the field in the second.
Well, that's why I did, because, when you get that angle, you're like, oh, look at that. But we're not alone. ULM is with us. There you go. We're in good company.
It's just not hard, though, I wouldn't think. I just don't.
It's just not hard is, I think that's a battle cry from the fan base, I think, just a little bit.
Oh,
I saw your look, and I get that now.
I was like, where are we going now?
No.
Where are we going here?
Defensive principles, coverage principles.
Shouldn't be that hard. Should not be that difficult.
Alignment, assignment.
That's right. You could be bad, at least know what you're doing as you're bad. At least have a sound, fundamental principle that you're basing your defense on and go from there.
Assignment sometimes. Alignment never. Come on. Let's align.
So I'm looking at that Oklahoma-UCLA game, and I'm thinking, it could be worse, right? We could be 0-2 as they are with Oklahoma on their way to town. UCLA is hosting that game. They just lost convincingly to San Diego State, a team that beat Gardner-Webb 6-0.
Don't you sleep on that Gardner-Webb.
Well, think about that. Imagine being a UCLA fan. Or, for that matter, I know you had a good year last year. Imagine being a Syracuse fan and saying, really, this is the week? We get Clemson this week after we just got boat raced by Maryland in a game that was never competitive. I know Dino Babers did not figure.
Oh, probably not.
No.
I'm sure they walked out of that tunnel thinking that they were going to lay the wood.
Well, on kickoff time, they were a 2-point underdog, and earlier in the week, they had been a favorite. So I don't know what happened that shifted the line that much, but it was basically kind of a pick-em at one point during the week. And in a pick-em, you shouldn't get beat by 1,000. I mean, it really ought not happen.
No, I mean, he was prickly when they were good.
Well,
in Charlotte, coming off a good year.
Yeah, he was very prickly. He was mad about how everybody predicted them last. And I said a couple of things, not to him, but we talked about how that could have been. Look, they got a great pass rush last year. There's no question they did. And their offense took off, and a lot of things happened for them. But they lose their starting quarterback, and even though the incumbent now, I mean, the new guy is a 5-star kid, 4-star kid, and that a lot of people were high on. He seemed a little reticent to talk about the defense being nearly as good as it was a year ago. He seemed willing to admit that on the interior, anyhow, they were a little worried. But I don't think he thought the offense would take too big a step back. And even though there was evidence that maybe it should. But remember, Syracuse was one of those teams, not unlike Florida a year ago, that had, through the first 10 weeks, an ungodly advantage in turnover margin, which are not things that you can typically replicate. They don't usually happen in your favor that way, and overwhelmingly so.
And he was calling for it in Charlotte, saying we need to create turnovers.
We need to continue to create turnovers. I'm like,
that really,
good luck with that.
You're going to count on those turnovers, are you?
I mean, some of it you can. You can create pressure, which leads to bad decisions, which leads to turnovers, but
it's like budgeting for the Christmas bonus in January. I know I'm going to get that $7,500 from the big boss because we're going to have another windfall of a year.
Right. Well, I don't think he thought it was possible that they would get beat like that, and now they get to host Clemson, and they've been good in this position, either at home or on the road against Clemson. Something tells me they are not going to be good this weekend, and that you can probably post whatever score you want. Write it like the game's already been played.
If Clemson cares to play it. Clemson put all. I'm not saying that Clemson's on upset watch. I'm not saying that.
No.
But what I am interested to see is, does Clemson really care all that much? It took a little bit for them to get in the game against Georgia Tech in week 1. Last week against A&M, that was a really slow start. They let A&M kind of push them around a little bit in the first quarter and a half before they decided, okay, all right, now go to bed, Jimbo.
I really believe, and by the way, speaking of Coach Fisher, he's about done watching Clemson's defense do what they do. I mean, that was a long day.
He schemed to have them beat in a lot of different places.
In the first quarter. It was a long day at the office after the first quarter, and you could see sort of the confidence waning, the frustration washing over him as he did scheme guys open, and his quarterback couldn't hit the broadside of a barn, wasting opportunity after opportunity to keep drives alive and keep Clemson's powerful offense off the field. And when Kelly Mond missed and then missed again and then missed again and then missed again, all of a sudden, the running game that was effective at the time, because Clemson had to play it on balance, they stopped respecting that passing game, stopped the running game, and went, beat us with your arm, kid. We don't think you can.
Yeah.
And he couldn't. And that had to be infinitely frustrating. And, oh, by the way, that's the blueprint for the remainder of what is a brutal schedule for them. They have to play the Alabamas and Georgias of the world. They're going to do the same thing and try to make that kid beat him with his arm. And I'm not sure, based on what I've seen up to this point, that he can consistently do that. He has his days where he gets hot, and obviously he's athletic and he can move around. You got to make throws, and they couldn't make throws. And so at this point, I mean,
Jimbo just didn't deserve to be abandoned, That's my takeaway from the game. Didn't deserve that. Shouldn't have happened to him. Come on, you got to be more professional than that kid.
Forgot to mention when I brought up the Oklahoma-UCLA game, UCLA, according to Phil Steele, held a players-only meeting just this week. Good night, Irene.
Have we done one of those yet?
That'll come after Saturday's whitewashing.
Yeah.
When
they named Dontavius Jackson the defensive coordinator.
Well, if you consider, I was asked this question on the War Chant Report: have we bottomed out like we did when Wake beat us 30-0 in 2006? Are we reaching that place yet? And Ira's contention was, oh no, it can get worse. And I know nobody wanted to hear that, but I don't think he's wrong. It can get worse. They haven't, to your point, they haven't quit. So you got that to wait for yet. That's perhaps
or to hang your hat on.
Or not, right?
Right.
Or not.
I could come out to Hangar 38. We could watch this together
All
we're shocked on a Saturday night in Tallahassee that in the third quarter, the offense looks okay.
Hangar 38 would turn into a party, the likes of which we haven't seen around here in a long time. If Florida State goes up there and gets it done in the blinding beauty of Charlottesville, and I will be filming from inside that stadium if it happens, Tom.
Mm-hmm.
I will take my place somewhere near the 50 and
if they'll allow me at Hangar 38, I will hold on to the bowling ball and I will just kind of allow me and the bowling ball to glide all the way down for yet another strike, because we do that in honor of James Blackman and the 35 out of 42 strikes.
Oh my goodness!
He delivers
gracious.
on the road.
Oh my! Look at you. At Jay Cameron Show, players only meeting, sir. The tent moves to a compound. Yeah, I've already said they've moved out from under the tent of suspicion. It's not suspicious any longer. UCLA is just garbage. As far as...
I believe you said they're City Hall.
My goodness gracious. That's not going to work. It may not... I mean, people could be saying that about us right now. Absolutely they can. I get it, those in glass houses. But I just keep looking at Chip Kelly having gone grossly obese on us. I think he's given up not on his football team, but on good, sound daily habits. I think he's just decided he's done across the board. He's not really worried about his health, his future.
It's too bad Florida didn't hire him.
Oh. Well, somebody just said, or Willie Taggart.
Well, I didn't think that, but
somebody did.
Somebody did.
At Jay Cameron Show, assuming this year goes as most expected on the field, anything that Coach Taggart could realistically do to miraculously pull himself out of the lame duck status in 2020? Well, yes, there is, perhaps, but it would involve a major hire, like a Brent Venables-esque hire on the defensive side of the football, that would get him another year, and then you would have Kendall Briles on offense, a big-name, successful defensive coordinator, and then maybe.
You know what's really hard here, and it just occurs to me, this is the way to look at it. If we played the game the right way, this is something that Ira said after week 1. Respect the game, respect
your opponent, yeah.
If we did those two things, and the defense just looked inept, but you're talking about a consistent, from the top-down leadership kind of presence on the sideline. You don't have the masks. You don't have the swag surfing. Like, you just have guys that know that they're not good enough and they're pissed off about it, and the offense is doing what it does and it succeeds. We'd all have a lot easier time with the situation, because we'd say you got to replace your defensive staff, and Willie has done a really good job to get everything else kind of fixed. Unfortunately for him, the defense has gotten worse.
Yeah, and
so he needs to make one more change, but you know what? He's made 2 really good changes. The offensive side looks a lot better. Special teams, not perfect. And I know the enumeration of headlines yesterday of 10 dudes on the field. And
it happened a couple times.
In my estimation, they should have just called a fake punt pass at the end of the game, because we had 11 dudes coming, and it was before a timeout, after a timeout.
Guy would have walked in.
I mean, he could have moonwalked. He really could have.
Yeah.
All the dirt, all the grass dug up.
I want to note that Louisiana Monroe wasn't well coached. Just want to put that out there. There were lots of things they could have done to make sure that they won that game in regulation. But go ahead.
Yeah, well, I mean, they're down inside the 10-yard line.
Oh, all kinds of things they did in that game where I'm like,
to say nothing of overtime. And
go for 2, but
yeah. Although if they suspected that they were more likely to score more consistently than Florida State in overtime,
I understand
they were
that's
correct
the
about
argument.
that.
They're going to walk in the end zone. I don't think that we're getting stopped.
Well, we might have quit at that point.
I think defensively we had.
Yeah. But if we looked body language wise, and we sound behind the scenes, you heard more details about guys being buttoned up, that people are held accountable. Like, maybe somebody makes a big mistake in a key situation, he doesn't come back on the field.
Maybe.
And the offense looks good.
And all those other things are working out.
You make a clear-cut argument and say, you know what?
Give him another year.
Give him another year and let him get his actual defensive coordinator in here, because he did it with haste. And you could make that argument. But the problem is there's all this other crap.
Right, that speaks to disorganization. Tom, I'll throw in an extra one, because we're now so hasty. And this goes on across the country. It's not just here. I mean, there was never a time that you were going to unless he did something unethical, violated, rules of the NCAA or the law or something like that, You would never fire a coach after 2 years. It wouldn't even be a discussion.
Right.
It wouldn't happen. And one of the reasons it wouldn't be is because he would not have had time to get his own kids in here and change the culture, et cetera. But moreover, in this case, for example, because the APR was what it was when he took over and they were last in the FBS, and kicking kids out of that locker room or off that team would have seen you dip below that number, and thus you lose scholarships and bowl eligibility and all this other stuff. So he was stuck there, right? He hasn't been able to get his own quarterback. He doesn't even have his own quarterback yet.
Yeah.
You would argue, like, that guy doesn't even have his guy at quarterback.
Sure.
Now, ordinarily, that would be enough to say you're going to give him another year.
And they've recruited well above their weight class, given what we are right now as a program.
We will see if this class sticks.
To this point, though.
Yeah, to this point. But if that class goes by the wayside because we're amassing losses, then all of a sudden even that argument goes out the window.
It's just all of these little things add up, and they make you point back at the head man in a way that
it's not flattering.
No, it's not flattering, but he could almost completely skirt it if most of those issues were buttoned up. I mean, like, remember, it feels like a year ago, but the coaches show was last week. And then the statement with the hydration and all that stuff. I mean, that's just one of, 20, 30 examples where you go, is there like accountability? Is there consistency in message?
I think a lot of people are asking that. There's certainly not consistency in message. That's why people are asking so many of those questions. That's, I've certainly fielded enough questions and emails and everything else about, well, wait a minute, why does this happen after 14 games? What are we talking about? We know that's not fair. Sure. Ordinarily, I'd say that's true. It's not. And nobody's real patient when you're losing games. I get all that. The frustration's real. People express that. That's true anywhere in the country where expectations are high and they're not met. I understand that. It's not just that, the defense is terrible and we're losing games. It's all that other stuff that leads you to question about, from the top down, organizationally, are we prepared? Are we organized? That's the damning element of the argument right now. It's the losses are bad. Nobody likes to lose games. It matters. It leads to attendance problems, et cetera. But it's the disorganization that makes you wonder if even if you make a change defensively, are you going to be where you need to be if you're as disorganized as we look? Preseason,
if you tell a Knoll fan that they're going to score above 30 points in regulation in both their first two games, we're 2-0, right? Doesn't every Knoll fan say, wow, well, that's great, because the offense was my concern?
Mm-hmm. Sure. Yeah.
Here we are.
Let's talk NFL. Let's move on.
Held me down and made me make a promise.
Introducing McDonald's new 2-for-3 Mix and Match deal. For a limited time, choose from the new Hot and Spicy McChicken, crispy chicken seasoned with a bold mix of spices, a juicy McDouble, mouthwatering bacon cheeseburger, or a tender 6-piece chicken McNuggets. Choose any two for just $3. The 2-for-3 Mix and Match deal from McDonald's, the most delicious way to mix up your summer. At participating McDonald's, single item at regular price. Offer not valid for McDelivery. Cannot be combined with any other offer or combo meal. Prices and participation may vary.
Nissan Truck Month is here. It's truck buying season at Kraft Nissan. Sit in the cab of a Nissan pickup and feel what you're missing. Cars Direct says Titan has more comfort and infotainment features than any pickup, and it'll stand up to F-150 or Ram any day. Compare. Titan has standard features that cost extra in the F-150, like USB ports, standard in Titan, not even available in F-150. During truck buying season, get 0% APR for 72 months on Titan Midnight Edition. That's free money on the truck auto trader called a Handsome Truck. Want discounts? Add it up. It's a pile of discounts, a virtual cash stack, and you get $12,000 off MSRP on Titan. Yes, $12,000 off. Nissan Frontier has special financing too, and $5,000 off. These prices are only good during Truck Month, so test drive one now at Kraft Nissan. They're out to make Tallahassee a Nissan town in cars and trucks. And now more than ever, if your truck doesn't have a Kraft tag on it, you paid too much, way too much.
Barry knows cool, he's keeping you comfortable. Barry knows cool, you can put him to the test.
People always appreciate it when you deliver on a promise and go the extra mile. When you turn to the experts at Carrier and Barano Heating and Air, our team would treat you like you would want to be treated. Zero interest financing and low monthly payments are available when you're approved for the Carrier credit card. Apply at baranoac.com. Florida license number CAC 1816186.
Tee it up at Edwin Watts Golf Shops with the new arrivals from TaylorMade. Introducing the new P790 irons and the new Milled Grind 2 wedges. The P790 irons feature speed foam technology and redesigned tungsten weighting for optimum feel and distance. And the new Milled Grind 2 wedges designed for increased spin and precision with raw face technology. Let us help you get custom fit for free today. Edwin Watts Golf Shops, home of the 90-day 100% satisfaction guarantee.
I'm Keyshawn Whitehorse, professional bull rider and area athlete, and Boot Barn and area asked me to share my story. We're all connected to Mother Earth. These bulls help me. I'm not trying to just beat this bull in a way of just physical, man. I'm trying to connect with it so that whenever I ride, we both done our jobs and we're both dancing together. The bull sleeps under the same stars and moon. You know, this bull's an animal of God and I'm a child of God. Area at Boot Barn.
Texting enrolls you into reoccurring automated text messages. Message and data rates may apply.
Come on, one more rep. You got this. 10. There it is. Nice work, man. You're a beast.
Thanks, man. I feel better than I have in years. And I got to tell you, taking Nugenix makes a huge difference for me.
Nugenix? That's the testosterone booster with TV ads with Frank Thomas. The Big Hurt, right?
Oh, yeah. This is a legit product. The key ingredient is Testofen, which helps boost free testosterone levels and increase lean muscle mass.
Well, it's clearly working for you. Hey, are they still giving out complimentary bottles for people to try for themselves?
Yeah, Nugenix is a great way to increase lean muscle and feel stronger with more energy and endurance.
Man, I need to get a complimentary bottle of Nugenix.
No problem. You just got to send them a text. Text TAP to 42424 right now for your complimentary bottle of Nugenix, the #1 selling free testosterone booster at GNC. Nugenix samples are not available in stores, so text TAP to 42424 right now. Text TAP to 42424. That's TAP to 42424. We all want more energy, more strength, more results. Well, welcome to Orange Theory Fitness as you take a step towards feeling more alive today. Backed by science, Orange Theory's heart rate monitored workout is scientifically designed to keep heart rates in a target zone, spiking metabolism and increasing energy. Orange Theory Fitness is a one-of-a-kind group personal training workout resulting in more energy, visible toning, and extra calorie burn for up to 36 hours. Experience a more vibrant life today with Orange Theory Fitness. To find out more, go to orangetheoryfitness.com.
Broadcasting live from the Tallahassee Dodge Chrysler Jeep Ram Fiat Studios in the capital city of Tallahassee. This is the Jeff Cameron Show on 97.9 ESPN Radio. Balls McWednesday, brought to you by Hobbit American Grill. Hobbit American Grill, celebrating 40 years of serving good food to good friends for good times. Online at myhobbitonline.com.
Some NFL musings here with the helps of stats and info. The helpses.
I gets by with little helps from my friend.
How about some helpses? I don't know what to make. I think I do know what to make, but you know which way I'm leaning on this anyhow? I was looking at the numbers. You won't see a weirder debut than the one that Kyler Murray had for Arizona. So through three quarters, he was as bad as I expect he'll be in his rather brief NFL career. He was terrible. He was 9 of 25. Really was completely ineffective across the board. In fact, this is kind of interesting. The Cardinals on offense ran 58 snaps with 4+ wide receivers on the field. That was more than the rest of the NFL ran those sets for any other team combined.
So all other 31.
All other teams combined. And that's a problem with that offense. I've said that before, that I don't think that works. I think you cannot leave your quarterback unprotected that way. Well, what were the results of those plays where they had 4+ receivers on the field at the same time? In those situations, when pressure arrived, that is to say somebody made him move off his spot, he was 1 of 6 with an interception and 5 sacks. You're going to have to dial that back, my man.
Yeah, I think the big complaint coming out of the weekend from those who watch the tape. Smart Football is one really good follow on Twitter that knows what it's talking about. Is that the play calling was cute, and once it got out of its own way, they got into a rhythm, which is the second part of the numbers.
Well, yeah, he's 9-25 for the first three quarters. He had passed for 70 yards going into the fourth quarter, no touchdowns, and one interception. He had a QBR of 4 going into the fourth quarter. He was the worst player in the National Football League going into the fourth quarter of anybody that played that day. Then he was suddenly brilliant. Joe Montana-esque numbers, 20 of 29 in the fourth quarter. This is so Detroit. What the hell are you guys doing? Anyhow, 238 yards and 2 touchdowns for a QBR of 90. It ends up, being an interesting and fun debut. It's a tie. It's such a weird debut. It's a tie. And if you're a fan of Arizona, you leave the stadium exhilarated by this big comeback and the fact that he played well down the stretch of a game where he had been so bad. I guess that leads you to believe that there's hope. But if you're a fan that went into the stadium anticipating a high-flying offense that utilized his unique skill set and his athleticism, you thought, there are 3 quarters of data sets that tell me this is terrible. And typically, once film gets out on a guy, and especially an offense like this that is new to the NFL or nobody else runs, it spells doom. I would say that I would be more on the mindset that this is ominous. This is going to be a problem, that this is not going to work. Now, I was of that mindset anyhow, both because of the offense they wanted to run, but also his diminutive stature. So, I'm not inclined to believe in it. We'll see. Is he what he was in the fourth quarter or the first 3 quarters? I'm going to argue the first 3 quarters.
I'll note something that has a lot less interest around the league circles, but Kerryon Johnson was platooned for the Lions this weekend. Didn't like that. I didn't like that very much. And he didn't have a whole lot of success. The team mostly didn't. I think C.J. Anderson's their second guy now. Is that right?
Yeah.
His yards per carry were healthy. But overall, the Lions weren't able to run the ball. This is probably just a battle of 2 bad football teams.
The rematch for Monday Night Football is the Browns and the Jets. That's the first ever Monday Night Football game. Did you know that?
Really?
1970.
It's the first one ever?
First one ever. Yeah, Joe Namath was with the Jets. It's a big deal, buddy. It was
coming
big
off
deal.
of a Super Bowl.
Right.
Yeah,
No, you're talking. It was a big deal. It's like hard to imagine now, but that's what you got. The Jets, by the way, lost to Baker Mayfield in his career debut, 21-17 in a comeback win. So they'll look to avenge that. But the Browns haven't played on Monday Night Football since 2015. They come into the game 0-1. If they're to lose to the Jets and go to 0-2, look out. You already have a combustible mixture of players, as you've pointed out before. Baker Mayfield was terrible in the last game against the Titans. They were, bad in a lot of ways. He had 0 touchdown passes and 3 interceptions when targeting Odell Beckham Jr. and Jarvis Landry.
Yeah, that was I had 2 games on principally in the 1 o'clock window. We had to turn off the Cleveland-Tennessee game because there were better finishes around the league, but Baker had a rough day. I don't think there's any walking around that one.
No, he had a terrible day, and, I may have one of those receivers on my fantasy team. I didn't need to see that.
I stayed away. The only guy I wanted was Njoku because he'll be commanding singles in the middle of the field, especially in the red zone when you're so worried about Jarvis and you're worried about Beckham. And even if you go heavy, Njoku's going to be on the field. He did have the touchdown catch this weekend. I don't know, man. He was hurt coming into the season as well. There's a lot that you go,
well,
this should work, but I don't know.
No, but see, this is why I got mad this offseason. I brought them up so often. People think I hate the Browns or something. I don't. They're insignificant to me. I understand the historical context in which the Browns play and why their fans are diehard and all that stuff, but they've really been largely irrelevant my whole life. So it hasn't mattered to me. I don't care about them one way or the other. I kind of feel for the fan base more than anything else. Having said that, you had people writing these guys into the Super Bowl, and I said on this show all offseason, can they make the playoffs first? Can we just make the playoffs before we start talking about somebody winning a Super Bowl? Secondly, their offensive line's terrible. It was terrible again on Sunday. It's not getting any better. Those are the players you have. They have nice skill position players. Nobody's arguing that. Their defensive line is one of the 5 best in football. We'll agree on that. But if you can't block, as we well know, you cannot win. And eventually you become predictable. And then Baker's going to have a lot of games like that. We've seen it with Jameis, where you're down 17, you're down 14 in the third and fourth quarter, and you've got to throw. Well, doesn't this sound familiar? You got to throw, and first and obvious, second and obvious, third and obvious, because you're down 14 or 17 points. What happens? That's right. With a poor offensive line, defenses get pressure. They know what's coming. Quarterback forces the ball. It gets picked off. You get labeled as a guy that can't avoid interceptions. We know what that is.
Yeah, and if you didn't need a reminder, you still got one anyway on Sunday, that NFL defenses and their speed, when they know what's coming.
Oh, you're screwed.
You're screwed.
You got no chance.
It's brutal.
It's awesome to watch, though, isn't it?
No, San Francisco's defense flying to the ball this weekend in the secondary was incredible.
Oh, yeah.
And
for a team that had 2 interceptions last year.
Even the Bucs. I mean, even the Bucs,
sure.
the way they attacked the
third and
ball.
long, they got off the field.
Yeah, they did. They
got off the field.
That group is instantly better. They're instantly better, and I don't think that's a week 1 overreaction.
Coaching matters, Tom. That's what matters. I'll ask you this question because it's fun. And it's also interesting, and it gives us a chance to talk a little bit about a team down south in the Miami Dolphins. Obviously, the New England Patriots won 33-3. Was that correct? 33-3. I got that right over the Steelers.
Right,
yeah, I think that's what it was. Okay, so why do I bring that up? Well, they won their first game, and now they take on the Miami Dolphins. The Patriots played the Dolphins. They're going to Miami for that football game. In looking at the numbers, this is fun. Yeah, it was 33-3.
Yes.
I had that right.
Let's
Let's go by memory there. Their largest margin of victory through 2 games of a season is total 59.
Okay.
They won by 30 in week 1. Now it's the Dolphins. So that's a fun bet. You know, that's up as a prop.
That's a former coach. So you got 2 things going on here. Bill hates the Dolphins because they've been a thorn in his side for some of his most embarrassing results. But then it's a former coach of his. So does he take it easy on his former guy to allow him a little bit of time?
Bill's not taking easy on anybody. I don't think he's that way. He's out for blood.
He loved that guy, though.
Well, he still may. But it's and that guy will know more than most that he's coming for him. It's like, hey, this is hey, go fly, little birdie.
So you're saying in the spread league, keep an eye on New England minus whatever.
Well, anybody playing the Dolphins for sure, but yeah.
Yeah.
They could do it. By the way, the largest in the Super Bowl era by any team through 2 games, margin of victory combined in 2 games. The 1967 Raiders won their first 2 games by a total of 79 points. Bitches, get you something.
If you're a Raiders fan and you drop dead after week 2, you drop dead a happy person.
My God.
Because for all you knew, they were the greatest team that was ever assembled.
After losing by 49 points, the Dolphins are in range of the worst score margin through 2 games in Super Bowl era, which also happens to be the Raiders in 1961 at minus 99. Oh, how things flipped for the Raiders fans.
If you were a Raiders fan in 1961 after week 2 and dropped dead, you dropped dead because of the Raiders.
I'm going to say they get this margin, this 59 points. I'm going to take the Raiders to do it. One right now from our friends, obviously, at Which. My son loves Which, and I think you will too. Let's go with, I don't know, caller number 2, 523-3776 for Which.
Don't wrestle alligators. You can't reason with them. There are plenty of other things to juggle besides chainsaws. Choose anything else. And when it comes to milk, always trust the smell test. These have been some live-long tips brought to you by the Florida Lottery. With the Week for Life scratch-offs, you can win up to $5,000 every week for the rest of your life. So you just have to live long and win on. The Florida Lottery. It's your ticket.
Claim it!
Must be 18 or older to play. Play responsibly.
Hey, I'm Jeff Doxey, Realtor for Capital Property Consultants, representing Premier Fine Homes. If you're thinking of owning your own brand new Premier home, call or text me at 850-545-4747 or email me, jeffdoxey1@gmail.com. You say where, I'll be there. Your Canopy Connection.
Tallahassee loves the corner pocket as much as a crystal ball winning catch.
He's looking, he lost it to the end zone. It's Benjamin! Touchdown! With 13 seconds left!
The 97.9 ESPN radio special is a must-have every Monday and Wednesday at the corner pocket. 10 mouth-watering wings, a fresh side of fries, and a chilled domestic pint of beer are just $9.79 all day long. Be sure and try the fish blend of sauces, a true wing eater's favorite. The Corner Pocket Bar and Grill.
He's gone!
Home of Trivia Tuesday, Beer Bingo Thursday, and the daily $7.99 lunch special.
Hardee's new Monster Roast Beef Sandwich is stacked with slow-cooked roast beef, slices of crispy applewood smoked bacon, all covered in layers of melted cheese. This tasty triple threat is kind of like an epic no-hands backflip on a wild Mustang while spearing a great white shark. How you got a wild horse out in the middle of the ocean isn't important. What's important is that the new Monster Roast Beef Combo with fries and a Dr. Pepper is only available at Hardee's.
Available for a limited time after regular breakfast hours at participating Hardee's. Dr. Pepper is a registered trademark of Dr. Pepper 7-Up, Inc.
Chuck Oliver here, and there's no better place to watch football this season than Cigars of Tally Lounge and Bar, located at 926 North Monroe Street. On the corner of 3rd Monroe, Cigars of Tally is the perfect place to kick back and enjoy your favorite cigars and ice-cold beer. The Diamond Crown Lounge offers countless options, including J.C. Newman, Arturo Fuente, Padron, Drew Estate, Ashton, and many more. Watch your teams on sparkling 4K TVs and seating areas made for comfort and luxury relaxation. Check out the private conference rooms and the spacious patio for your next watch party and fantasy draft. Cigars of Tally Lounge and Bar, 926 North Monroe Street. Get your ash in here.
Fonville Lewis Mr. McConaughey sponsors Braves baseball so that all of you can enjoy the action. Ever since the days of Hank Aaron and Dale Murphy, we've been Tallahassee's home run hitting law firm. And because we don't get paid unless we win, we want to win every case as much as Chipper Jones wanted to win every game. So when you're injured, don't just trust any law firm to handle your case. Make the call to the bullpen for a trusted closer. To see our stats on the back of our baseball card, visit wrongfullyinjured.com. Fonville Lewis Mr. McConaughey. Personal injury law is all we do.
The Jeff Cameron Show podcast, available on demand at ESPNTallahassee.com and on iTunes today. The Jeff Cameron Show podcast is brought to you by Garnet and Gold of Tallahassee. When you buy FSU apparel, support local business. GarnetandGold.com. Driving every day from the Tallahassee Dodge Chrysler Jeep Ram Fiat Studios. This is 97.9 ESPN Radio, WTSM, Woodville, Thomasville, Tallahassee. Broadcasting live from the Tallahassee Dodge Chrysler Jeep Ram Fiat Studios in the capital city of Tallahassee. This is the Jeff Cameron Show on 97.9 ESPN Radio. Balls McWednesday, brought to you by Hobbit American Grill. Hobbit American Grill, celebrating 40 years of serving good food to good friends for good times. Online at myhobbitonline.com.
Final hour of the Jeff Cameron Show, at least for today. Thanks for tuning to it. I'm Jeff, that's Tom. We're online, ESPNTallahassee.com. That's where you go to listen live via the streaming free always. A fine Balls McWednesday to you and yours. Hope you're well. We're online, ESPNTallahassee.com. That's where you go to listen live via the streaming free always. Miss anything, go back, get caught up at your leisure. We're also on YouTube and Periscope. Hello, YouTubers and Periscopers. Well, I had one of those moments last night. I'm on Sudafed, Tom, so I have weird dreams when I'm on Sudafed to try to keep it, keep the nasal passages open while you're sleeping. It also dehydrates the hell out of you. Remember what I told you the other day? I went there to buy the Sudafed, and I had to ask for the good stuff. I want the good drugs from behind the counter. Well, my wife's better now, and we're all fighting being sick, so I took the Sudafed that I got for me. And you know what they don't tell you is that in the process there, you forget sometimes that while it's clearing your sinuses, it's drying you up. I took a turn to the left side last night, locked up the whole hamstring all the way down to the calf, baby. Woo! I haven't had one of those since high school. I mean, I've had the calf lock up. We all have the calf lock up occasionally. This was a hamstring just below the butt cheek all the way down, and I was panicking, frozen. Wife's asleep. I don't want to wake her up, but I'm on the verge of yelling at the top of my lungs some curse words. I'm trying to get my toe, trying to reach my toe and pull back as hard as I can. I'm knocking the pillows everywhere. The blanket goes off sideways. I was nearly in tears. It took me probably a good 7 to 8 minutes to get that thing to calm down. And I've been sore ever since. I just want you to know I've done today's show. Banged up. A little banged up.
I am fighting off a very subtle...
A little cold?
I'm feeling run down, and I'm getting plenty of sleep. Mm-hmm.
Man.
Can't get away. This damn office is like a kindergarten classroom.
It's crazy. Yeah, man. It's a petri dish.
It really
Sucks. Well, it's small. We're in a studio. We're using headphones and mics and stuff, and we get...
Well, it's not the fault of our cleaners, too, because we got a good cleaning crew that
doing a
comes
great
in on
job.
Tuesdays.
Yeah, absolutely. Ah, man, woo! Shot straight out of bed. I can tell you exactly what time it was. 3:36 in the morning. Looked right over there. You know why? When that happens, I always hope it's like 5:30, 5:40, because you can just get up.
Yep.
You can hop out into the kitchen, kind of figure it out, get yourself worked. But it's 3:30. You can't get up at 3:30. You can, but
ain't nobody want to live that life.
No, and I have insomnia. I talk about it a lot, so I too often have to do that. I don't need that. This was just a cheering, locking up, just a ooh.
It's too bad I don't have insomnia, too. We could just do the show at 4 in the morning.
Oh, man, we'd be wide awake, ready to roll.
We'd be wide awake, probably a little ornery.
Yeah, there'd be an edge to it. I saw where, and we've got all the time in the world to get into FSU. I don't like leading every hour with FSU. I just don't. Right now, I don't like FSU. I don't like talking about FSU. I don't like football. I don't.
Hey, man, the basketball schedule's coming out this week. There you go. You're welcome, everybody.
Yeah.
Write it down. The big ACC matchup's coming to town.
I'm ready to talk about all of the other sports that Florida State is currently kicking ass at. But we're just so young into the football season. I get so excited about all these other games. Hell, I'm going to Florida State, Virginia this weekend. I'm leaving tomorrow. And by the way, programming note, Tom and I are going to do the show early tomorrow so that there is content. I'll do Redemption Thursday. We may even, maybe I'll reach out to Lee Sterling. We'll get the picks in early, have my mom call, do the whole thing because I'm flying in the ESPN studios in D.C. This is bizarre, under construction. They're building a whole new thing. The studio I was going to use for Friday's show's not there. So we're not sure. It's looking like tomorrow's the last day for the show for this week. But I'm going to be there, and I can't even get excited about this game. I'm really hoping that your eternal optimism about what's possible in this game is going to play out. Not that you're predicting a win.
I want it noted for the record that my eternal optimism, quote unquote, I'm a realist.
It's not eternal at all, right? It could end after this Saturday.
I'm 100% a realist, but all I'm saying is this isn't like the buzzsaw deal where Virginia is playing at a top 15 level. And there are all these. It's not a fait accompli on Saturday night, but they are deficient. And if we care to be there and to take advantage of some stuff, I mean, it's readily apparent for Kendall to do. So that's all I'm saying.
I want to point out, since I've been doing this show for a very long time, that I don't know if it was worth it to him or not, but Boone Pickens is dead at 91 years of age. And when I was on the air, when he decided to turn Oklahoma State into something that mattered by donating hundreds of millions of dollars to their athletic facilities and to, in particular, that football stadium. I remember at the time I asked the question, by the time he dies, I said this to Matt Millar, by the time he dies, will they have won anything of significance in football now that he's invested? He's dead, folks. He died today. He was 91. It's on Oklahoma State's football stadium when you go by it right there. It's Boone Pickens Stadium. He will be buried at the school's golf course. The money he donated to the school's athletic department is more than anyone has ever given to a university athletic department ever. Not Phil Knight, not anybody. Boone Pickens gave more money to one university than anybody's ever given to any university ever. I wonder if he thinks that was worth it. Well, he's dead now. He doesn't think anything, but you think in his latter years there at the facility at the golf course?
Yeah, I'll bet 100%. It's a hearts and minds thing. You got to have it in you a little bit. The write-offs are nice, but you've got to have it in your heart. And listen, I think he could have gone to his rest thinking this program has an infinitely better chance to be something someday than it would have if I didn't do what I did.
Yeah, I guess. He gave $165 million in a single donation in 2005. That was then invested into a hedge fund and waived management fees that he controlled. That $165 million helped pay for renovations to the stadium that has had his name on it since 2003 when he donated a boatload of money then.
Boone cared.
He cared a lot, man.
Where's our Boone?
A lot of that. He's dead. Al Dunlap's dead.
Yeah, but where's our Boone?
Well, you want Boone, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
You don't want Al Dunlap money. You want Boone Pickens money. You want Boone money.
That's what I want.
Yeah. We need, right about now, we need some Boone money. Somebody should have curried favor to Boone Pickens before he died.
Who's got that kind of coin out there? I don't know.
Mark Cuban. But he went to Indiana.
Maybe he grew up a Florida State football fan.
Well, he's a huge Pittsburgh Pirates fan, and he's from Pittsburgh, and I'm a man.
LeBron liked the
Noles
growing up.
I've been holding out hope for a long time.
LeBron loved winners growing up, and we were that. We were that.
Okay.
He liked Ohio State, but he really liked Florida State. Well, LeBron.
Well, a lot of having your name on stadiums and all over campuses is about your ego. Anyhow, it's like this.
We could wear LeBron brand
fighting back
uniforms.
death type thing.
LeBron brand uniforms with white number. I know they're doing it next year, but
I think I'm the only guy. Are they doing the Nike thing next year?
No, the white numbers.
Oh.
No, we know that. But
No, I thought you were talking about the brand. The Jordan thing.
Yeah.
I know I'm in the minority here. I like the Jordan thing.
I don't like. Yeah.
I love the Jordan brand because I was around to watch Jordan's college career, pro career, and the birth of the logo, and those shoes that we would all fight so hard to get when they came out.
Yeah.
To me, it's bigger than North Carolina or anything like that. I always love those.
Maybe Stanford should have the Tiger Woods brand.
They should. If I were Stanford, I would. Or Johnny
You got
Mac.
the TW.
You could TW would look good. You could have a John McEnroe thing. You could do whatever. I mean, Ron Darling. Wouldn't that be absurd?
Oh, my God. It would be something he would do.
Oh, he would do it. He'd donate the money. Although the people that donate to Stanford have a lot
World
more money than Ron
Series,
Darling.
Cy Young, Defensive Player of the Year. You might say I have it all.
Oh, you might say that.
That's unbelievable.
It's the Jeff Cameron Show, 97.9 ESPN Radio.
Sorry, boys, I did not have time to pack.
We got this.
It's right here, guys.
We got this.
I thought I could handle it.
We got this.
Moving doesn't have to be a hassle. Call us first at 2 Men and a Truck. No matter the move, home or business, we'll make it a smooth one.
I forgot something.
We got this.
Man, if you missed it in the 3 o'clock hour, I'll reiterate it here. Couple things. If Florida State is going to get a win and stun the nation going on the road and beating Virginia, which means they might get some stops, then some things are going to have to change. Some trends that are disturbing are going to have to change. Willie Taggart, again, I brought this up in the first hour. Willie Taggart, as a Power 5 head coach, 0-6 straight up as a road underdog, 1-5 versus the spread. 5 of the 6 losses have been by at least 17 points. The others are lost by 29, lost by 35, lost by 17, lost by 42, lost by 19. Yeah, when he's a road underdog as a Power 5 coach, he gets his doors blown off. The only cover is last year's loss to Miami by 1 point.
Oh, remember that game?
Oh, yes.
That makes me feel better during a Florida State-Virginia week.
So we blew a 20-point lead in that game on the road, and, yeah, we covered. But that felt like a much more devastating result than anything else. I mean, this is 0-6 straight up as a road underdog, and these are ass-kickings. 29, 19, 35, 17, and 42? I'm sorry, Tom. This has me gravely concerned.
Well, you know, like all concerns start with the defense, so there's that. And they do things. You know what? Let's just put it this way. Every team does something that we can't defend because we can't defend much of anything. But on the list of things that we can't defend, they do put linebackers in a position, as you like to say, they're always in conflict, but they put linebackers
just
in
by
conflict.
being on the field, sure.
Maybe we see some new bodies out there. I found it interesting that Harlan's answer to that question today about going younger at that position was, well, you don't do it just to do it. You do it if somebody deserves that chance. But then he followed it up with something along the lines of, and some guys maybe have deserved that chance. So I think we're going to see a little bit of a youth movement. But all that could teach us is one of two things. Either we tabbed people that were grossly incompetent to play the position, or nobody could play the position because we can't coach it. And that's the thing I'm afraid of on Saturday is you might see McCray out there. You might see DeLoach out there. You might see...
I would like to.
Right. You might see Kevon Glenn out there.
I'd like to.
If they're automatically better, that means we didn't know what we were looking at in dictating our depth chart because they didn't have to be third on the depth chart.
But they're linebackers, Tom. They're linebackers who played linebacker, and I think they're guys that would trigger quicker because that's their instinct. They're actual linebackers. They're not converted safeties.
Well, they're
and
not
other players.
would-be, yes.
And they're not, you know what I mean? They're not would-be. Kalen Brooks is 105 pounds. Listen, he's never going to take on a block. These are guys with some weight to them.
Yeah.
I
understand that.
Right.
But what I'm saying is the conclusion you draw from it, now the result might be better because you get better players out there.
I've already decided they're incompetent, Tom. We know that. Obviously, the results scream that they're incompetent. That Harlan Barnett and that staff, Woody, those guys are incompetent. Mm-hmm. There's no other answer.
If those replacements understand what to do, then we lost the game for no reason, and we put a second game in danger for no reason. So that's the one alternative. The other one is these guys don't know what to do either because we can't coach it up at that position.
Well,
we'll find out.
Well, listen, okay, so to your point, and here's what's frustrating. This has been very difficult to understand. We know that Odell Higgins knows what he's doing. He's done a great job for a very long time.
Yeah, but does he know how to coach the entire front in an odd man front? And now what are his responsibilities? Is he coaching the ends now that we're in an even front?
I'll grant you that these are all valid questions, but we're not getting good play from anybody on the defense. Marvin wins one-on-one battles and is tireless and gives unbelievable effort.
Durden played well this past weekend too.
But we don't get stops in the run game.
Coop's been bad. Maybe he's
been bad. Yeah.
He's not used to getting moved around because he's 30 pounds lighter. I don't know what's going on there.
It's just that there's not a segment of the defense that's played well.
And by bad, I'm not looking at what his responsibilities are, what Willie was talking about on Monday. Mm-hmm. What I'm looking at is that the line consistently gets moved back against anybody who's got any kind of strength at all. And so what I'm worried about is the trench being shifted into our defense towards our defensive backfield by 3 to 5 feet on every play. That's one of the basic things I'm worried about.
Now, if it is turned around and something happens where we are in a position to win this game and they play much better on defense, I'm not kidding about that sense of reinvestment, if you will. Because if you go younger and guys do begin to play better, and maybe, I don't know, it's partly because of the change of personnel, but also because of simplification, whatever it might be, I don't know. But if, and it's a big I and a big F, that does happen, well, those kids are going to be hungry and they're going to play hard the rest of the year. I mean, this is their opportunity. They'll seize it and they want the reps, they want to learn, they want to get better. It hasn't been beaten out of them yet, those younger guys. And that would be very encouraging. Even if we come away with this with a loss, now you're playing for a time where you're late in the year and you're seeing a program moving in the right direction finally. Mm-hmm. And then maybe the win-loss record is not what you want, but the investment's there, improved play is there, and you realize, okay, we've salvaged something from a season that right now is teetering on the edge of being a complete waste of time again, and we're talking about delaying the inevitable.
The question I have is, okay, so I think we would all agree that the competition got worse from week 1 to week 2, right? From Boise to ULM, the competition is worse. ULM's players are not as good as Boise's players. That's correct. Right? So how did our exotics all of a sudden get stopped in week 2?
Yeah, well, I think once you put something on film and you can't get pressure from either your front 4, front 3, you're unable to dial up anything. At some point, they look at that and go, okay, this is what they're going to do.
Because here's one of the opportunities that we do have if we're much more like week 1 and we generate pressure on those obvious passing down situations. An opportunity we do have is this kid Perkins. He's got a little bit of James Blackman and DeAndre Francois on him that he will trade physical harm to make a throw, and he'll do so to the detriment of a play. And this is something that happened against Pitt consistently. Now, he did make some plays. He got out of some hits and contact and ended up making a couple of plays with his legs. They ran him more in the second half because I think they realized it. But he is somebody who will keep his eyes down the field almost to a fault. And so if we are a little bit more successful getting in the backfield on a 3rd and obvious, you might be able to affect the guy and you might be able to tune him up a little bit and test his toughness the way we did Bachmeier in week 1.
I love that you continue to talk about this team as if they're competent. I do. I love that investment is still there, partner, because...
No, I'm talking about the deficiencies of Virginia and how we might be able to get at them.
But the point would be that, yes, they have deficiencies, just as Louisiana Monroe did, just as many of the teams we'll face have. But if we don't understand what we're running, how to execute, don't care to be there, it doesn't matter. None of it matters. And I know you know that.
Well, but we proved in week 1 that we were good at that part of the game, and it just disappeared in week 2, which is interesting to me.
Again, I think
it was like the one good thing we did in week 1. We did like our 3rd down pressures when we tried to get home. We got home.
Yeah, I just think that obviously we put it on film now, and people will adjust to it, and I don't know how savvy we'll be at dialing up more. I think that they're going to go, oh, that's what they're doing. All right, got it. And then we'll have to wait 4 weeks to see some new exotics that we haven't seen in a while.
Well, listen, we may get the unequivocal answer that everybody, it almost seems like there's a large amount of people that just want it to happen. Just, you know what? It's
I got texts on Saturday from people saying, let it happen, meaning the last game, against Louisiana Monroe. Mm-hmm. Let it happen.
Yeah, I think that's a real thing.
Well, they want it to be unequivocal. They don't want us to be in limbo. Being in limbo is terrible. I have to admit that, either you're great or you're horrible. The in the middle sort of thing is frustrating. I get that, but there's real fear, which is different than a normal season. There's real fear that if we're middling, nothing gets changed, nothing gets done, and they want change.
I'm not there. I can't go there, and I'm the guy who was a little bit on the critical side of the spectrum last year, but I can't go there because I've seen enough improvement of the offense that you could have something here to work with. I'm not saying 9-10 wins good. Don't get me. I'm not crazy. But you might have something to build for here because the offense, I think they're going to be invested if you give them a reason to be invested and they don't feel like they're overwhelmed because the game's over before they take the field.
The big question becomes if they get, let's say they go out there and they give up 50 points, but they score 24 or 31, okay? And the offense continues to be the one thing that you can hang your hat on as having shown significant improvement. Can you make a move in season? Can you make a move that makes any sense at all, that makes a difference, more importantly, at all, on your defensive staff? Could you demote Harlan Barnett, not outright fire him, and he's in charge of some other aspect, or is that humiliating? And obviously, he'd be stripped of obviously his dignity and to some degree authority. Mm-hmm. I mean, I wonder about that. If you do fire him, say you make the decision to fire him. I mean, you're already down a coach. Obviously, got to replace him. Who would you bring in? Okay, so let's say it's Jim Leavitt. Everybody wants to bring that up. What could he realistically get done in such a short period of time? I mean, you'd have to think that it would need to be done.
Well, are you outright firing Harlan Barnett at that point?
Yes.
Because you have to create an opening.
Right. No, you're firing Harlan Barnett. I gave you the one option, which was to demote him and then upgrade Snyder, whomever else you want to, whatever. You could do that. The other option is to fire him, to make a significant statement by saying, this aggression will not stand, man. We can't get stopped. You're fired. We're going to bring in Jim Leavitt. What could Leavitt realistically do?
He could change the attitude and
he could probably give him some core principles to play off of that they could buy into. Maybe sometimes a new set of eyes and a different voice changes the dynamic.
Leavitt would have to go full Jimbo when he got here. He'd have to micromanage every segment group, because if he comes in and he'll want an odd man front, most certainly he'll want an odd man front the moment he walks in the door. Linebackers aren't magically going to get better, so he's going to have to take over there while also improving defensive back play, while also having a no-nonsense attitude in practice that's going to – does that undermine the whole thing that we're doing in practice? Because it seems like everything's easy breezy. So are you going to allow him to change everything about the way we practice as two segments?
If you give up 50 points in this game, yes. Yes, you're clearly blowing it up without, firing the head coach. Short of that,
yeah,
you're making a drastic change. It's a desperate move, but it's a desperate measure. I mean, born out of a desperate measure. That's exactly why it would happen. You would be admitting this is all wrong. We're blowing it up, and we'll see if we can't make strides towards fixing this by season's end and getting us somewhere to where you feel better about going into the next season. I don't know. I'm just throwing it out there because this is now the whole conversation. Well, what happens if we go out there and we can't get stops again? You're 3 weeks into the season, you haven't stopped anybody. Can you just go on the rest of the year just not stopping anybody without making a change?
I think the hard part here is clearly we had a philosophical come to Jesus in the offseason. I think that's why Willie went from criticizing the defense to he feels really good on the booster circuit about what's going on defense. I heard this mentioned, but if it wasn't headlines, it was in your interview with Ira earlier in the week. I don't think he feels confident unless his wishes are being followed as to what we're teaching, philosophically speaking.
Yeah, but he has to hate what he's looking at right now. I mean,
well, no, I mean, but think about it. In the last week, Wayne from the Democrat asked Harlan about this today, and it's like Harlan can't possibly answer the question because last week is you got to simplify, and then Monday on the coach's show, Willie says,
got to throw more.
We're too simple. We're running too much
throw
base.
More at him, yeah.
I mean, Jesus, I think that is emblematic of the relationship between the head coach and the defensive coordinator since day one.
It's emblematic of the obvious disorganization that the program is suffering from right now. That's more damning to Willie than it is Harlan.
That's what I kind of get.
No, I get that. I'm saying that this is.
So if you bring in Leavitt and Leavitt changes,
Harlan didn't do a good job last year either. But
no, well, and where Harlan doesn't skate is defensive backs don't know how to play in any situation.
Defensive backs coach, right?
So if they're in trail, I mean, listen, I don't have to know about the technique to teach it like Terrell Buckley or name the best defensive back coach in the country. I don't have to know enough about that technically, Nick Saban, technically speaking, to know that if we're trailing somebody in man and we're getting called for PI every bleeping time because we don't turn our head around, that you might need to. You might need to do that. And then when we look at our 3rd and 17 earlier this year, the zone coverages we've had, any number of examples where we're soft or late to the ball, clearly they don't know where to be on instinct. They're thinking about different things than they should be. They're not allowed to be free and play.
1,000 yards to 2 group of 5 teams.
And no matter what you do with the front, even front or odd front, defensive back responsibilities remain largely the same. In fact, they might be identical, even with a 3-man front. So the fact that they haven't gotten better over 2 years is 100% on Harlan.
Right.
But philosophically speaking, I think these guys have been at odds from the very word go.
Well, now we get into the grand discussion, which is the nature in which he was hired. It was a hurried process because of the early signing period, and obviously he came in at a time where he's having to put together a staff while salvaging a class. This all speaks to, and it all adds up to, a confluence of events that leads to disaster. And actually, I don't think it's, it's not one specific thing. Every day we end up finding something that we can pound into the earth and be frustrated by. But I don't think it's a coincidence that a lot of second-year coaches are looking like a disaster. I mean, Chip Kelly, your boy at Tennessee, Pruitt, us.
It's a big setback for Nebraska this weekend.
It was.
Frost has them, I think everybody thinks, largely going in the right direction. But
They are.
You shouldn't lose that game.
No.
That's ridiculous.
They completely blew it. Believe me, I know. I had them given 4. They were cruising. That was an easy cover until it wasn't. But that's the kind of thing that a team that is getting better but hasn't had a lot of success yet and hasn't been able to flip the roster yet does. They'll lose games like that close in overtime. They're not getting out here giving up 40-something points to Louisiana Monroe and blowing 21-point leads. And they're not, it's not happening every week like that. You're seeing progress with Nebraska. But Charlie Strong at USF, a nightmare.
Yeah.
A lot of different places where you're seeing guys in year 2 not having any success.
Yeah, Nebraska gave up a big lead, but you've got equal talent on the field, and you're not giving up 600 yards, it feels like, every gosh darn week.
No.
And that's the problem here, is that if the defense was just below average, it's almost like the offensive line conversation. In fact, it very much is. The offensive line conversation from the entirety of the offseason, the entirety of the back half of last year, is now happening with the defense. Can you get me to ask sorry on defense, to use your terms?
3.7, baby.
Because if you can get there, then this offense might give you a fair fighting chance to win some games in the ACC and maybe let you go to a bowl.
Let you go to a bowl.
Yep. To El Paso.
This team ain't going bowling, man. They got no chance.
With an ass-sorry defense, maybe.
No. They're not going.
Or maybe butt-ass average. I'm sorry.
Butt-ass average.
There you go.
You need them to get to butt-ass average. Yeah. Or just butt-sorry.
Because right now they're pits of the world.
Oh, pits of the world,
yeah.
Resoundingly so, and I don't see a sign that that's going to get better. I really hope I'm wrong. We needed to get better. My goodness gracious, wouldn't it be great if it got better? It would mean that there's a reason to watch and invest again emotionally, financially. You would then still be on board for what you think is the potential outcome of this experiment, this new head coach, his staff. Those recruiting classes would be salvaged. All of that would still be in play. And that's all anybody wants, is a reason to believe, is a reason to hope. They haven't been given a reason to hope beyond the offense moving the ball. And even that offense, listen, I got it. They moved the ball against Boise. They moved the ball against Louisiana Monroe. They did nothing. They had 1 first down in the second half against Boise. They had long stretches in this game against Louisiana Monroe where they looked disjointed and absolutely inept until they found it again. And that's against Louisiana Monroe. Now you're ratcheting up competition where the players are better coached, fundamentally sound. Virginia's not rolling a bunch of elite athletes out there on defense, but they'll know where to be. They'll play smart. They won't be out of the positions that they're supposed to be in, that they've been told to. They'll understand their reads, and the sledding will be tougher.
Yeah. If we run correct routes, unlike the pick 6 last week, you'll be able to beat them to a lot of spots. But you're right. Let's say you start with a slump instead of starting fast. You may have
It's out of control.
imploded. You may, morale-wise, have imploded before anything good can happen to you.
Well, I think it's paramount. Listen, it's only Wednesday, but I'm going to tell you, as we sit here today, I've never had a stronger feeling that if the rather unlikely upset is to occur, it will only happen because Florida State gets out to another lead that they have to hang on to. It will not be because Virginia's up 14-3 and we start to figure something out. No. If Virginia gets up big and that place starts going nuts and there's blood in the water, we're going to get blown the hell out. We will fold, and we all know it.
Hey, I ain't dismissing that as a distinct possibility. Distinct. But it's not hopeless.
It's not hopeless. You're correct. You're right. What you've seen on film and what we've talked about, especially with their lack of athleticism to some extent, you're right. That could be exploited. Got to stay ahead of the chains. Got to have early success in this game. Give me a tit for tat. If we want to go back and forth, you want to go down and score, I go down and score, we can do that. Get me in that game, in fact. All right? I'll take that. Well, obviously, I'd like to.
4.5 hours of Big 12 greatness. Let's watch it.
Bobby Womack. Jeff Cameron Show, 97.9 ESPN Radio, wrapping it up. Before we do, another reminder of several. So a couple of things. First of all, don't forget, my man T. Lizzy and the remainder of the ESPN crew that will be here in town are going to be over at Hangar 38 on Saturday for the game against Virginia. And given that it's a ACC network game, you're going to need to make your way over there if you don't have it.
That is correct.
So go have a good time. Good eats, good people.
Bring the kids.
Bring
Let
the
them
kids.
go bowling, play the arcade games.
That's right.
And then we'll be unabashed in the Hangar 38 Zeppelin section, as they call it, for the live feed of the game. Unabashed.
That's right.
Things are going to happen on Saturday. I don't know what kind of things, but things will happen.
Reactions, Tom. Reactions
will be had.
Reactions will be had, which might lead to beers that need to be had. I'm very curious. I mentioned it earlier on the show. Our guys have got to learn to stop talking. In addition to the problems we've had so far this season, as pointed out by many people on the beat, and I haven't brought this point up, so I'm giving them deferring here and mentioning that this has been brought up by a lot of people, and I tend to agree with them. Part of the problem with this team looking the way that they do is they're also not eminently likable. It's not a likable team right now. These guys celebrate big plays for the other team. If they get a hit, it's 17 yards downfield. They stand over them and taunt. They always, after giving up any number of first downs on a drive, they get a stop and celebrate in a way as if they're a dominant defense that is hell-bent on intimidating, ensuring that you've got no chance, we're going to break your will type celebrations, the incomplete signal after every pass. I mean, they've given up over 1,000 yards to two group of five teams. Stop doing that. And Leonard Warner today talking about Bryce Perkins, quote, obviously he's a good runner, but I don't think we're going to have too much trouble with him. I think we got a good plan for controlling him. Just stop. Don't say anything, Leonard. You guys haven't stopped anybody, let alone a player the caliber of Bryce Perkins. You can't stop slappies that nobody's ever heard of.
Yeah, and that's the thing where if you were good enough, maybe not good enough, but if you were exhibiting great effort and you weren't good enough, right, to get the job done, and you see what's happened this year, improvement on the offensive side of the ball, special teams is way better than it was. It's not perfect, but it's way better than it was. You could say, well, Willie's got this thing turning around. It was a big mess. He addressed the offense in the offseason, check mark in the good box. Addressed the special teams, got rid of the coach who wasn't doing anything. That's a check in the good box. But the problem is the defense has gotten worse. I'm not sure where the message came from to switch to the odd man front. I don't think it was just Harlan Barnett's idea. And then you got crap like this. You got these types of issues where we think we're some sort of world beaters for even being competitive in two games with a group of five teams. That's where the head coach has every bit, 100% of the say in how we conduct ourselves as we win, lose, or we play the game for the full 60 minutes.
Yeah, and it speaks to a mindset that's troubling. I don't know if these kids think that by donning the garnet and gold, that being recruited by a place like Florida State means that you are in some ways uniquely, because listen, we're Noles. So yes, if I were recruited by Florida State, I would be in awe of that, not only happening, but what that means, what that signifies, with the greatness of so many former players and the national championships and conference titles and All-Americans that came before me. I would feel this great honor and privilege to don the garnet and gold. I never did. It would be an amazing thing. As a football player, I wasn't good enough to get a look by Florida State. So if it happened, just thinking about it, it would have given me goosebumps. And I would have thought I was hot stuff at 18 years old to be recruited by Florida State. I don't fault them for feeling awfully confident about being recruited by a place like Florida State. But what they have to understand is they're not those legends. They're not those previous All-Americans. They're not those national titles just because they put that jersey on. They haven't done a damn thing to warrant being arrogant, to warrant being a guy that can taunt and strut because he's wearing the garnet and gold. You haven't achieved anything. You guys sucked last year.
Yeah.
You sucked the year before, and you suck currently.
Yeah, I got no problem with you doing that if you're good. Jalen Ramsey rubbed me the wrong way, but he
dominated.
He dominated.
The clapping in your ear after
it's
shutting
part
your
of
ass
his
down.
shtick,
It's
and it
what he
drives
does,
me
right?
freaking nuts. But it does get under the skin of the opponent.
And he backed it up.
I'd prefer with it. We could do without it, but he was so good that. Okay,
what are you gonna do? What are you gonna
get
do?
some leeway, right? If you're more talented, you get more leeway. But this,
stop this. You guys aren't any good. What are you? You're talking smack.
You could do it again if you give up under 400 yards this weekend. Go for it. 399. You're good to go. I'll give you a week. But let's hold them under 400. Let's see if we can do that.
The chances. Of
okay, 425.
Okay,
under 425. Under 425, and you get 3. You get 3 chances to pander to the crowd.
Yeah. And here's the deal. Pander to the crowd. Don't taunt and stand over individuals playing the game. I don't want to sound like get off my lawn guy. Maybe I do. We're just not good enough to do it. I don't like it because it's pervasive from a unit that doesn't stop anybody, that hasn't earned the right to be arrogant, and yet they are, time and again. And that's why I say so many people note that in addition to not being good, they're not very likable.
Well, what the message it sends to me is I'm good. We're not, but I'm good. That's what I see when a play like that happens.
Well, the problem is all these people doing it aren't good players.
All these other guys. But I mean, when somebody makes a play in single coverage, right? And he gets to look to the crowd and say, completely, this isn't my fault. This is their fault. I get a chance to make a play. I make a play. I'm serious. I think that's kind of the mentality a little bit. And that's part of the greater issue. Willie handled a couple of macro things pretty well this offseason, but there are so many little details that just irk the hell out of you. It's like nails on a chalkboard, and that's within his control.
This thing's teetering, man. This game on Saturday night is going to be very, very interesting. I still, I get a sense just based on the evidence that Virginia's going to win this game going away. I really hope I'm wrong, because it would mean we have something to play for, fight for, and really watch and analyze moving forward for at least another week or two, at the very least, right?
Yeah.
For at least another week or two.
It's a stay if they win
It's
the
a
game.
stay of execution,
Yeah.
right? Yeah, that's what I feel like it is. I need to see it. I don't believe it until I see it. I don't believe it's going to happen. We may, again, be able to move the ball offensively fine.
Should be able to.
We'll see.
It's there. It's there. I'm serious.
Well, that's fine, Tom, but I would have thought that we wouldn't have gone through long stretches in which we were outscored 31-14 after getting off to a hot start by Louisiana Monroe either. So I'm just going to say anything's on the table here. We could move the ball and get into a wild shootout, 48-45 type thing. Could happen, I suppose. But knowing how this team responds to adversity, don't get down by more than a score.
I agree with you there. I'm just saying it ain't Clemson last year. Virginia has some serious deficiencies.
Let's not even think about that game. My God.
I was just talking about the team and the talent.
No, I know. I'm just talking about that game. I don't want to think about it.
Serious deficiencies that we could exploit for some success. But it probably won't be enough. But I think the offense can make a mark.
All right. Let's do probables. Fire it up, good sir.
It's time for, how you say, with the pitching, probables?
How about baseball being baseball, man? We use this phrase all the time. So the Yankees are going to take on the Tigers. The Tigers are 3-1 against the Yankees currently, with a chance to go to 4-1 on the season. The Tigers have won all 43 games this year. They've already lost 100. They are an embarrassment to baseball played all over the world. And they beat the Yankees and came back from down 6 runs yesterday to do it, to win it 12-11. Imagine the betting line in-game if you had the Yankees and scored 6 runs, watching that unravel. And the reason that's a big deal is the Yankees, it would appear to me, are going to need home field if they face the Astros, because the Astros don't lose in Houston. And the Yankees are good at home, too.
No, you're right. The playoffs are going to be, I think the American League is going to be a higher quality product because I do think that they have more answers late in games than the National League certainly does. But for 2 different reasons. I think every series is going to be truly compelling.
Yeah, I believe we're on a collision course for the LA Dodgers to face the Houston Astros in the World Series. But there's enough intrigue with the other teams involved in these playoffs, and they're still, fighting, that I absolutely can't wait to watch it play out. I mean, those look like wars to me.
Yeah, if the Braves had one more bat, and I don't think they need two. If they had one more bat, the top of that lineup is unbelievably tough.
Well, I love the Braves. They're going to win 100 games.
Right, to give the Dodgers a real run in a best of 7. I think if they had one more bat,
I'd say
could be a situational thing. A guy gets hot for 4 or 5 games.
I'd say with the Nationals pitching staff, if they get in, nobody wants to see them.
Yeah.
They roll out 3 guys in a row that are a problem.
But you know what? If you're down 1 in the 8th or 9th, you got Washington right where you want him.
That's true.
Because here comes Doolittle.
Yankees, Tigers, CC Sabathia, Matthew Boyd. Anyhow, baseball being baseball, the Tigers have already lost 100 games, but they have a winning record against the Yankees. It just happens. It's bizarre. Braves, Phillies, Dallas Keuchel, Zach Eflin. Braves fans, consider yourself extremely lucky to be watching an organization as well run as the Atlanta Braves are currently. Acuna may be, and he's emerging now, as arguably the second best player in baseball behind Trout. Yelich gets hurt, unfortunately, but Acuna is making the case, and he's that young. I mean, the guy's 40-40. It doesn't happen in modern baseball.
Yeah.
And he's under contract for the Braves for the next 8 years.
Yep.
Dodgers, Orioles, Ross Stripling, John Means. We've got the Red Sox and the Jays, Bobby Pointer and Wilmer Font. We got the Brewers and the Marlins. Tough break for the Brewers. They're within a game, and Yelich breaks his kneecap. I know you're heartbroken. I mean, you didn't want to see Yelich
He's a
get
good
hurt.
player. I don't want to see him get hurt. But for the Brewers,
tough luck.
It's kind of like seeing Indy. I hate it for Luck that he's conflicted and he's depressed. But you know what? They've had great quarterback play for 20 years.
It's ridiculous, right? Brewers, Marlins, Zach Davies, Pablo Lopez, D-backs, Mets. Let's go, Mets!
Hey, wow.
Playing ball, baby.
All right, that was a good one.
Robbie Ray going for the D-backs. Of course he is. Steven Matz going to go for the Mets. Not a bad year for Steven Matz, Tom Wayne.
If you look at their lines, ERA, whip, all that kind of stuff, these are 2 very similar pitchers on the hill tonight at Citi Field.
I know. Nats, Twins, Steven Strasburg. He's been great. Martin Perez goes for the Twins. I don't think people realize how good Steven Strasburg's been. 222 strikeouts this year. Rays, Rangers, Andrew Kittredge, Ariel Jurado. Really should have taken the under on the wins with the Rangers this year. It was so easy. Indians, Angels, Adam Plutko, Dylan Peters. We got the A's and the Astros, Brett Anderson and Jose Urquidy. Royals, White Sox, Glenn Sparkman, Ronaldo Lopez. Cardinals, Rockies, Dakota Hudson, Antonio Sensatella. Dario Agrazzo goes for the Pirates. The Giants will throw Logan Webb in a battle of 2 teams that nobody should watch. Reds, Mariners, Sonny Gray with a comeback player of the year nod in the line. Sonny Gray's been good. And that bandbox for the Reds, 275. Did you know that?
I knew their staff looks really, really good at going into next year with the moves they've made and with Gray being there.
Man, Gray's pitching well. Mariners are going to throw Marco Gonzalez. Cole Hamels will go for the Cubs. Padres will throw Chris Paddock. Dicey for the Cubs.
Come on, let's go, Padres. Let's go, Fathers.
We got front row Knowles coming up.
Yep, as we're doing arm circles.
Just doing some arm circles
forward
here.
arm circles in the studio.
I got to stretch. Got to get loose here.
Front row Knowles at 6, and then we join the Braves just in time for first pitch as the Phillies look to win back-to-back over the Braves.
Well done by us. What a lineup for you tonight. Good work out of you, Tom. Good work, Matthew. Be well, everybody. Have a great night. Front row Knowles up next. Talk to you tomorrow.